Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Rather, and I'm joined by Lily Padman.
Hi.
We have my sister here today.
You do.
Not Carly.
Nope.
But my other sister, Lauren Graham.
Yeah.
Ah, I love her.
We love having a Parenthood in on.
Lauren Graham, actor, producer, best-selling author. So impressive. Gilmore Girls, Parenthood, Bad Santa, Evan Almighty, Because I Said So. She has a new show out right now on Tubi.
Yep.
Free.
We love free.
We learned about Tubi in this episode.
We did, yeah.
The show is called The Z Suite, which is a comedy exploring the tension between the generations, which is kind of the topic of the day on the show. We're doing a lot of generational stuff.
You're right.
This whole week is generation, really.
Wow.
Wow. God, I love her.
Yeah.
Most stunning eyes in the biz.
She's so fun and so smart.
Very smart.
Yeah, and
It's also Smart Week.
My God.
I know, there's a lot of things happening.
We didn't even mean to.
This is all accidental. Please enjoy my sweet, sweet sister, Lauren Graham.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
I can't believe this is the setup now.
Right?
This is very fancy.
It's been so long since we were here.
I feel like I was one of the first people.
You were, I looked today, you were April. So you were 2 months in. Yeah, there's been 850 people since you.
Are we on?
Oh, yeah.
We're
ABR.
always on. ABR. Go ahead. Tell me how it reminds you of Parenthood.
Parenthood was shot very kind of freestyle.
Economically.
Sure. And some would say proscenium. We're like, it was just like, we just like all be, like we're doing like a school play. Like you never knew kind of where the cameras were. But I remember one day, and this was not your request, it's just something that happened, which was suddenly there's a bounce board for Dax. And I remember everyone kind of being like, why does he get a bounce? We don't get anything. We're lighting us with a flashlight. And like, Dax got some, special.
Here's what I told myself. I didn't request that.
No.
I looked so bad on the monitor. I was the only one who's like, we got to light that nose differently or it's going to be like startled. Like when someone puts a bounce board only under your face, you're like, oh, fuck, I am the ugliest member of this
That's
cast.
insane. Remember the day that I was driving by and I thought you were Brad Pitt?
Oh, I will never, ever forget it. I went back and listened actually to your episode because it was 7 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
7 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm going back thinking like this is gonna be rough. It's always rough. This is gonna be month 2. But I'm gonna tell you what, this is one of the first ones that I've gone back to that I totally liked it.
Really?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think because I really believe this. I was panicked that I had to guide the thing somewhere at the beginning or that I had to manage what was happening. But you and I have such a effortless rapport that I was just really relaxed. And I still interrupted too much. It's not great, but it's better than the other ones.
Not to turn this into my interview of you guys, but what has changed for you? Has it just evolved into now this is something that is better? Like how? That's a really long time to have any gig, and you've spoken to so many people.
I think it's like acting, right? Like at the beginning, I was so self-conscious, and I stand where, and I was like, oh, do I not? Like I used to look at the lens on Without a Paddle. They had to rotoscope my eyes a bunch of times. I like look right into the fucking camera because I didn't know better.
Yeah.
But by Parenthood, it's like, you're just kind of existing. But that happened in this job too. Whereas like at the beginning, I had a lot of fear of, am I doing a good job? And how do you conduct an interview and all these kind of things. And then just over time, I think I don't have any real fear around it at all.
But also it's so successful. Doesn't that change how you start your day?
A lot of things for us, I think. The success of
tell
it.
me.
I mean, I think it's made it the pressure a little more. The more we sign deals and start doing those things, then it's like we got to have big numbers or we got to do that. Like it almost made it it took away the thing that we
Right.
started with, which was like, let's just chit chat.
Right.
But came, you know?
Yeah, the experience of trying to do good and trying to be in the top versus trying to stay in the top is a completely
That's
different
so
pressure.
interesting. It really is, isn't it?
And I don't like that.
No.
It's not why we did it, but then you can't not start thinking like, well, I certainly don't want to watch us just decline over the next 5 years.
Right.
I'd like to stay.
Today's
grow.
the day. Today's the day. It starts.
Oh, no.
Parenthood fans are so excited right now.
Yeah. You're new to Instagram, right?
I just joined Instagram.
Congratulations.
It'll be a year around my birthday.
Well, comments, you learn things that I wouldn't otherwise have known. So like I'm very aware that Parenthood is now back on Netflix and in Canada.
Oh,
So
okay.
there are a lot of Canadians right now that are tickled pink.
Oh, great. I just spent a bunch of months in Toronto
Shooting. That's where you
this
shot
new
this?
show.
Yeah.
And it was just so nice. I'm not just saying that to pander to the Canadian fans.
No, it's a legit great city
It's
now.
a great city, but it's also a great country. And it's a great, just like, it was a relief to kind of not be in a lot of dialogue about like what's going to become of us.
Yeah.
And just like the shopping's great. The restaurants were great. You know, it was really fun.
It's the most multicultural place on the planet.
And selfishly, that just makes the food really good. And,
Yes.
and, you know, when you're there for work, like our big thing would be to have like a Saturday dinner where are we going to go? And we just had some incredible food. It was really
A bevy of offerings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But back to you.
Yes.
I want to tell you, because right around that time, you came over and asked May and I about doing a podcast.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And
I pitched you.
Yes, which I didn't understand. There are many things I feel partially because I wasn't on things like Instagram or I don't know. I'm just like, I am often behind what is happening in our business or behind like I can remember on Parenthood, May saying to me, I've just really stressed out about social media. And I said, what's that?
You like really what?
I did not know what she
Explain
was
that
talking
is.
about. I did not know what she was
Great.
talking
I'm
about.
jealous of you for that.
Yeah. Well, that's changed. I can remember a time when I thought that sitting and watching something on TV and then also having your phone was just like a cracked thing to do. And now I sort of do that. But we tried to kind of like later, like years
You and
later, we tried, you know, you're doing your own like talk show and it's, and I guess the way my brain works, because I love talk shows,
Yes.
is like I was trying to, and also we're very different people, May and I, in terms of how we whatever approach things. She's like more kind of fluid and fun, and I'm
Jazz.
like she's jazz, and
you're
I'm
classical.
Sinatra. I don't know.
great. Yeah, that's
I don't
nice.
know.
Love
I want
that.
segments. I want standards. I want a chorus, and then I
Yeah,
want a refrain, and like
With
that
a
was-
groovy underbelly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it has, you know, you riff within it, but like I was like. And it just
Yeah.
didn't, it was hard. It's hard.
How many did you do?
We did essentially a pilot and it didn't.
It wasn't for you. Because my pitch to you, I remember still.
Oh, I don't remember. What was it?
I wanted you guys to have basically like a homewares type podcast because you're so into decor and building, and she's got a real eye for fashion. And I thought the two of you, over the years, people have asked me, shockingly, for my advice in this space. And my thing is always like, literally pay attention. What do you talk about in your free time endlessly? I talk about trauma endlessly. And then that's kind of what the show ended up being. So I've been
So
around you guys.
interesting.
You guys are horny for all this neat stuff.
Yes.
Like truly invigorated by aesthetic and
Yes.
exploring it.
That's a fantastic idea. That ours was more, we were trying to come at things we both enjoy from, because this is one of my best friends and we are 20 years apart.
Yeah.
So the concept was like, how do we come at things differently, but on the same subject? And it's you ran out of material. What I now think about is, but there's no need in this space. But like I have realized that I read more than a lot of people. I really read a lot, and I talk about what I'm reading. And
Yeah, you were on a morning show and the co-host handed you 3 books. That's how known you are for being an avid reader.
spoiler alert, I had read them all.
You played it off like they were
Thank you.
all novel
you.
and new to you.
I was so panicked because I'm the world's worst. She was like, here's this beautiful gift. And I was like,
I've already given this to someone else because I read it all.
but those are her, it was Jenna Bush and those are her picks. And I read them partially because she picked them. And so I am influenced as well in that space. And
So you'll follow people's book lists. Who do you follow? Who's it good?
Well, I mean, I don't even follow in the social media sense, but were you worried about your breath just then?
Nicotine.
Oh.
Also, your eyes look so beautiful.
Thank you so
They're
much.
so fucking, you wouldn't forget. These are blue,
Yeah,
right?
those are blue.
Monica has a hard
Come
time
on,
remembering
guys.
people's eye color,
Yeah.
but yours are memorable.
Well, so are yours. So we're on the nicotine still? I didn't know it came in a spray.
Oh, yes, this is the purest delivery system possible.
not the
'Cause
gum?
I have the mint in.
Okay.
The lozenge.
You did used to do the gum, though. Remember? A lot of gum.
Yeah.
No, I never was really into the gum.
I remember you
Just
chewing the gum.
Kristen?
You
no?
remember
Patch?
these. I've been on
Okay,
these for
okay.
20 years.
Right.
And I dipped for a while,
Right.
but I'm a year and a month
So
off
just
of that.
Kristen on the gum?
She was on the gum. Yeah.
She'd always say,
She
give
was
me
on
a
the gum?
two.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she loves her nicotine. She's on the spray. We're a nicotine family.
That seems off brand for her.
Yeah, she
She'll
has
shock
some
ya.
things like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
She'll shock you.
Little
Do you-
pop-outs.
See if you'll understand this wardrobe choice. It's been a long time since I wore this shirt.
Is this Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, that's the most, the thing I own that has the most connective tissue to Parenthood.
No, we had the mug.
Is it our football team?
FNL, Friday Night Lights.
I said
Cam.
FNL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But then I thought I was missing a Parenthood reference.
Just
Well,
'cause
this is
Jason
the closest I have.
oh, yeah, right.
Like knowing you're coming, I'm like, I want to do something Parenthoody, but I don't own anything Parenthoody, but I own this, which is
I don't
connected.
know if I own anything Parenthoody either.
Did you take any props or anything? Like I took the mugs. I took
We
the
had the
luncheonette
mugs for a while.
signage.
Yeah, I maybe don't have this anymore. When I moved, I got like real, I moved.
You were Marie Kondo.
I which I kind of am always anyway. Like I'm always, I feel it's an illusion, but that I will finally one day reach the point where my stuff is only what I need and nothing else, and I won't bring anything in. But then you look at the jeans collection, and it's like,
Yeah.
can't stop.
It's hard.
I can't stop.
How many
hard
pair
to
of jeans do you think you have? You want Monica to go to first so you don't feel as bad?
I have a lot of jeans. I got rid of a bunch recently too. But
Yeah.
I heard a new rule: 2 out, 1 in. So if you
Right.
buy something, you have to get rid of 2. I'm working on that. How many do I have?
Yeah, how many do you have? Like do you fold them or
I
do
fold
they
them.
hang? Okay.
I fold them.
She has about 16, what are they called? Armoires
Okay.
in her one-bedroom
Few
apartment.
armoires.
Her entire apartment is armoires.
That's too many armoires.
I know, but the closet's too small.
Yeah.
So I had to make more space for said jeans.
Yeah.
I probably have like 20 pairs.
I probably have more
light.
than that. What I got rid of, which is bad, is I got rid of the jeans that you would just wear to like paint something or
Yep.
whatever. Like I was like, I'm only keeping the ones that, are good. And then I was like, these are all uncomfortable because they're like
Exactly.
too fancy.
I relate to that because I have several pair of jeans that I'm supposed to do work in. Well, I don't want to ruin
Right.
my good jeans.
Right,
but
right,
I am
right,
always find myself mid-pro. I never have the patience.
You're never
once
changing to
No, I
go
like
do
see
your
something,
like,
I'm like, oh, fuck, I was supposed to cut that down. And then I'm doing it and I'm ruining the new jeans. And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I'm never, ever going to go inside and get, eventized for
yes,
my yard job.
Eventized
I'm
is
just
great.
going to
Yeah.
ruin whatever pair of pants I have on.
Well, I also realized that it's okay to have the jeans because what I need to stop doing is thinking I'm ever dressing like a person with a real job because there is no, especially here, like there's no, where am I going?
Like a
Like
pantsuit?
blouses.
Yeah, like a pant. Yeah, like any of that. Like
yeah.
on this job, I finally played a character, May, and I have a joke, which is defaulting to plaid, which has to do with wardrobe choices on most of the stuff. I mean, not Lorelai so much. She also had like nice clothes for a job, but like on Parenthood, May would be like texting me. She'd be like, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, I'm defaulting to plaid. I'm just going to wear like another plaid shirt
That's
and be like
safest
a
for-
mom, sort of like a
Yeah.
groovy-ish mom. And so like, that's just kind of my life. And like, I don't go in, if you're going somewhere fancy, like you're going to do a whole thing. And like,
Yeah.
so
I'm envious of your relationship with Meg.
Really?
Yeah.
But you have
First
such
of all,
a good
it's
one
the
too.
sweetest relationship. It really is
It really is.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. But I think she's, no matter who you are, like I still get a little like thrill when she'll text me back because it's not a given. And she's a mom now and she's working and she's in Ireland.
She's hard to pin down.
She's hard to pin down.
Yeah.
And so if I can get her, I'll panic text her to just get as much out as I can. I'm really working with this mic well.
You feel very boxed in right now. Yeah. You're being claustrophobic.
But it is a really special relationship, and I feel really thankful for it, and really
It's kind of flattering, isn't it?
it is really flattering.
Yes, because she's a blessing on planet Earth. She is one of my absolute favorite people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And my envy is that I've been trying to hang out with her for 10 years. I literally have not seen her socially since we interviewed her. That was it. That's all the only time. And I text her and we'll have an exchange and I'm like,
Right.
oh yeah, we're going to hang out. I want to meet her baby so bad.
Yeah.
And then I bump into you and like, you'll have just seen her.
It's not as much as you think.
Okay.
It's not as much as you think. And it really is like a Christmas and some of them have to do with like, bribing her or like,
She
I'm
needs
like, yeah. I'm like,
lawn equipment or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think the last time they're in New York now. So
I don't even know that.
Carlos, her baby daddy, is on Broadway in Hadestown, which I feel happy to plug because he's fantastic in it. Carlos Valdez.
Never even met him.
And he's lovely. He's really great. And so they're in New York for the next while.
Wow. With the little
And then
baby.
she got this job in Ireland.
Oh,
So she's in Ireland with the baby.
Oh.
that's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot.
It'll be fun.
Do you guys,
Yeah.
is your relationship, does it mimic the show or is it more like equal friends?
It's
or is there
more
the
like equal
maternal?
friends, which is insane because she's young, but she's like an old soul.
To put that in context, she's been on a set since she was a baby. So she's been around adults. So she's the only person that I know that's that much younger than me that has any reference I make, she gets.
Yes, that's
it's
right.
very unique.
Yes.
You could say any show from the 80s
right.
and she'll know it.
She knows, that's exactly right. So that mimics a person your own age. And also this was sort of our concept too when we tried to do a podcast is we've been in show business the same amount of time.
Yeah. Even though, right.
Yeah, she's wise. There are certain things that I would go to her about because she's one of those people like you are, and I assume like you are, but who just kind of like has a very definite opinion, which I'll really weigh. A lot will be like, I don't know, I don't want to hurt the feel, or like I get kind of like Pisces-ish
You get in a little
about
anxiety
it.
spiral.
Yeah, I get in like a
People
thing,
pleasing.
and she'll be like, absolutely not. Oh God, no, absolutely not. You can't do that. And I'll be like, right, no,
Like,
I'm not
I
gonna.
Well, look at her on the show. She's wearing like enormous clown glasses. Like no one else is allowed to do anything. And then the third youngest person on the cast is wearing like enormous cartoon
She knows
glasses and
herself.
scenes.
She knows herself.
And
But
she
although
can put a boundary out. She's like, she advocates for herself too.
early on in the show, they had us go on some reality show. What was it? It was like,
Yeah, like The Voice.
it wasn't.
Oh,
Was
I
it
think
The
it was The
Voice?
Voice. We had to stand in a weird spot and they cut to us for half a second.
It was just me and May. It was a DreamWorks related thing.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like Howie Mandel was on it. Was that
That's
deal or no
America's
deal?
Got Talent.
or
Well, okay, somebody.
or one of the game shows. He did a game show.
Yes, it was that.
Like
it was just like a little
Millionaire or
cut to
whatever.
us, and she had these giant glasses on.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, "Hey, are you sure about the glasses? Because they weren't glasses she needed. It was just like a fashion moment."
Yeah.
And she wore them, and everyone was kind of like, "Hey!" And even after her dad texted her, "Grandma's concerned about the glasses."
The ones she wore on Parenthood begged the question, has she gotten a job cooking at Benihana? And that's like part of her character, like Cookie.
It was Cookie.
We were in Turks and Caicos like 7 years ago. And there was a Benihana and there
Style.
Okay.
It wasn't an
I
actual
don't
Benihana.
think it wasn't. We don't want to.
It was a Japanese
take away from
steakhouse
the
where they cook in
Benihana
front of you.
name.
Right.
And one of the cooks' name was Cookie. And he had glasses on that were like literally 2.5 feet wide.
Oh my
and
God.
covered his whole face. And I think for most tourists, they loved Cookie, but it was like watching a mime the whole time. Like I had to leave. And then Cookie was
the kids were crying. And so Kristen took them out and said it was just us two sitting at this big table with Cookie, and Dax panicked.
I panicked.
He's like, I can't handle Cookie right now.
Play along with Cookie's routine. I didn't know how to give him what
It's a lot to ask of the audience.
It was
They do
so
the thing where it's like
stressful.
flips the egg into the hat or whatever.
That's great. Do that.
Sure.
But these enormous glasses, these
Poor Cookie.
we saw him. Didn't we see him
I
on?
think
He was in a commercial for the place or so. Anyways, he's doing great. Cookie's doing great. But the thing I'll add that maybe you can't see or would sound arrogant to say is, you guys are definitely girlfriends. That's for sure. But she admires you so deeply. She like really has looked up to you since the day you guys met. And I think she has like what me and Tom Hansen have. Me and Tom Hansen are best friends.
That's lucky.
But also he's my dad. He's the dad I wanted. I think there's a lot of that happening.
It's so healing when you have that because, and I have had this in a couple very rare instances of there are friendships and there are friendships with people who are your peers or you're close to your age, but there's something in the vast age or vast enough age difference that is not a family member can be sort of a mimic what you wish you had or what you or
well, don't you think
still,
it's just nurturing?
Yeah.
It's like a nurturing relationship, which all friendships aren't necessarily nurturing by nature.
Yeah, right.
More than just, I'm in a bad mood, give me advice about my girlfriend or boyfriend.
Right.
This is more like, hey, anytime you need anyone to take care of you, I'd love to be that person. When you have that instinct towards somebody, it's very sweet and special.
It is sweet and special but it doesn't have the I am not her actual mom. I am not her actual, we can still be like, I don't have a responsibility there except to my love.
Yeah.
And
You don't have to model some great behavior. You just have to be available.
It's the best version of a familial relationship.
That's right.
It doesn't have all the baggage around it. It's like the purest. I've never thought of it like that. That's really true.
I don't think I have either, but I also have that to some degree.
You have it with your sister, right?
I have a great relationship with my half siblings. And yes, because the sister we have had the same mom, that loss is very bonding
and she was very young.
She was a senior in college and came to graduate and then came to live with me.
Wow.
And that was like, that was the result of that. So that is very unique. But I was going to say, with my TV mom, Kelly Bishop, I also have one of those that is all the things we just were talking about that, and especially not having my mom here, but I can still have a martini with Kelly and, there's no pressure there for her or for me really.
Yeah, but you're kind of getting that motherly feeling, right? Yeah.
It just would be hilarious Kelly is such a, gosh, I've never thought about if they are similar at all. Like my mom was just such a unique, sensitive, kind of like very creative, but kind of
a little naive. You said last time. A little trusting.
Mm-hmm. And like Kelly's so like balls to the wall, Kelly's like, and she has her vulnerability obviously, but I don't know. Yeah, that's just been another one
This runs the risk of sounding like, women shouldn't be in the workplace. So I'm going to acknowledge that. But I will observe in my own wife, which is like a ton's on her shoulders. Mm-hmm. She's the boss of these sets she's on, as are you. And there is one costume designer who she really wants on every job because she just feels that woman feels so maternal to her. Mm-hmm. And she will often just hug her throughout the day. And she said, I'll often just cry, but it's not sad cry. It's just, I feel so safe in this particular person's arms. And I like that throughout the day because there's a lot on her shoulders. And there's this whole acting the way you have to act in that role as a woman. I don't know. I just think it might be a bit more complicated
than
when you're the boss.
Oh, yeah.
And you're a woman in this job, I think you need a soft place to land
For sure.
occasionally, I guess is what I'm saying.
It was interesting doing this show I just did.
Yeah.
It was a lot of things I hadn't done or hadn't, because I would not consider myself, there was no lead of Parenthood. We
Right.
all had our strengths and moments. It wasn't the pressure on one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was, it's just something has switched, and I guess it's age appropriate, but I am still surprised to be the person people are looking to.
Yeah.
They're looking to you to set the tone and vibe of this whole experience. Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
And they care about my opinion, which I'm still like, really? Woo, I don't even know what I'm doing. And they're asking my opinion. And then this is a show where there's like, a lot of young people. And for many of them, it was their first or second or, a new experience.
Yes, I watched it and I didn't, no insult to anyone. They were all fresh faces for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm also 50, which is,
Are you really?
Yeah, I turned 50.
I missed your birthday thing. I wasn't here.
Oh, we canceled it
Oh, really?
because you weren't here.
I wish that were true.
You ruined my 50th.
I wish you were
I was going to tell
sitting
you after the
in a
interview.
corner.
but
being like,
I was like, well, she's not coming.
here.
Then why the fuck are we doing this?
But yeah, that was still surprising. And it was fantastic. Like, I had a director, producer who I knew, and that ended up being this huge, big piece of it. And it was something I wanted him on the show, but I didn't realize until we were in it. I was like, thank God, I know that I've worked with him. I know this guy. My boss is an incredible writer and really a great boss. Much younger, it's like her second or third show. And so there was a lot of people asking my opinion, and it can be lonely.
Can I guess that you have to be the grown up? Like, we could be on set together. If you and I had a scene together, we could complain about the director, and we could complain about there was a whole strata above us, and we could be little misfits who are bonded in this.
Yes.
But you can't take that role now. You can't shit on anyone. You can't complain.
No, and even I had some day when one of the cast had a complaint about something. I was like, oh, I know, it's bad or something. And you could see them perk up that
feel validated.
They felt validated, but I was like, ooh, I can't really be doing that.
'cause
like,
your opinion
I can't,
means
yeah,
more.
because then they go say, well, Lauren did blah, blah. But so that was a surprising place to be. And it's like the thing I'm talking about of like why I'm always a little bit behind in terms of, I don't think it's bad because the people who have a very strong sense of their place and kind of who they are is like, that can go the other way. It can go in the wrong direction or there's too much sense of importance or too much sense of like too much. But it's a place you tend to have earned, and I need to be comfortable in those shoes.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I always remember in Tina Fey's book when she's talking about 30 Rock and start being, she's comfortable as a writer. She'd been a performer. She hadn't been the lead of a TV show opposite Alec Baldwin. And she said, I realized at a certain point I had to stop apologizing within my performance, which is just such a phrase I think about, which is like, I had a sense of like, I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm the boss, but I mean, let's,
Mitigate everything.
Yeah, right. And sort of apologize.
Yeah.
And but it's, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's
That's a very
tough.
gendered thing.
Well,
Yes,
definitely.
right.
Yeah. We noticed it on Expert. Like, we'll have these brilliant fucking experts on there, professors, and they would say this astounding thing that their data just backed up, and they go, or that's at least what we found. It's like, oh, you didn't even need to say it at that point. You don't. You have the data.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
and
baked
still
in.
being apologetic as women more than men.
Adding a little escape for you to not feel so threatened that I just knew more than you.
Yeah. Staying likable is a thing that women carry that men do not.
Do they not though?
We do. I just think it's different.
Well, being likable for a man is exuding confidence.
It's true.
So no, they're not trying to balance like being dominant and being submissive all at once.
Right. This experience was positive, and I think I balanced it pretty well. And then I watched this little thing. on Instagram. Maybe you guys have heard of it.
Oh my God, tell us.
Where we just got on.
I'm trying to get off of it.
I know. That actually was May. May was like, I think you've waited so long that the cooler move is to not do it at all. But I just felt pressured to, I don't know.
You kind of got to.
Well,
if you're realistic.
Somebody said to me, you think you're not on social media, but you are. You're just not speaking for yourself. Others are, and this, as Gilmore Girls in particular, like it just continues to have this.
Yes. And
presence.
let them come hear directly from you.
Yeah.
And also, you're an author.
Yes.
The authors we have in, they're on press tours actors could never even comprehend, right? You're killing yourself to get people to read a book. So if you have the opportunity to put that in front of millions of people's eyes, it'd be insane not to.
Well, that is exactly.
But this is a pattern of yours.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Remember trauma earlier?
First of all, I loved the Gilmore Super Bowl commercial, but I did remember like we would talk about doing commercials when we were shooting Parenthood, and you were just like, I just can't wrap my head around going to doing commercials. It's like, you were so curious why Kristen and I kind of were just like, oh, fuck yeah, we'll go sell some phones.
This is a great example, which is my agent has been saying to me for a very long time, no one cares. It doesn't now ding what you're trying to do as an actor or a writer or whatever. Yeah. And I have had historically, the best one is I got this offer when this stuff was still kind of early. I thought of a actor in particular who I know, who I was like, that person would, and I thought sometimes when I don't know if I should do something, I'm like, what would so-and-so do? And I was like, this person would 1,000% not do it. And I passed on it, and that person ended up doing it.
That person you shored up your decision with.
And I was like, wait, what? And so,
that was the universe giving you a gift.
Maybe so. And so I feel differently about it now. And I felt differently also. That felt like the whole way it was approached was very respectful and I thought like would be fun for people because
oh my God, yeah. It was such a fun commercial.
That's the thing I think about, especially with Gilmore Girls fans, is like, is this good for them?
You just have to treat it exactly as you would treat a TV show you're offered, which is like, is this good? Will this be fun to watch for 30 seconds?
Right. Well, because I think one of the things long ago may have resisted or been concerned about is the separation between character and person. And like, I wanted to be able to play different characters. And, ultimately in TV, you end up using so much of yourself. There is that separation isn't that broad unless you're on Downton Abbey or something. Yeah. And even then, but I had a different kind of sense of preciousness or something.
Well, when I was re-listening to the episodes from 7 years ago today, you were talking about like this intense pressure you put on yourself out of college, and you were behind, and you had started early, yet now you were behind, and this terrible fear of making the wrong choice and fucking up, which was really present in your early life. And I think also part of it is just like, how hard it is to get here. How hard it is to end up on Gilmore Girls. How many 24 people have a show like that for the rest of their life. And so you are terrified you'll make the wrong decision and fuck it up, and you'll make it go away because you went into this other thing. It's like, it's very consistent. When I was listening to it, I was like, yeah, this is very consistent.
I think I have it less so now.
You started to say you saw something on Instagram that we got really derailed.
I think it was going to be positive, but I don't remember.
This is a funny story from Fallon. You did post a cute picture of you with the billboard for the Z Suite behind you in Times Square. I think people might not realize this funny aspect of those billboards.
So did we have one for Parenthood? I was so thrilled by this. I was like, this has never happened before, which is not true. Like, we would have Gilmore Girls on the, Barham where Warner Brothers is, like a billboard, a proper, and it kind of didn't occur to me because once again, a little bit behind, that now they're video, they're like,
they're not paper
they're
anymore.
Moving pictures.
And there's not a guy with a fucking
this guy, which we still have on Sunset. There's still like a painted like billboard, but so someone had sent me a photo of it, and I was like, oh, first of all, I walked there from downtown. I was so excited, and it's, I was just like a dork. And then I get there, and that area is like not an easy place to just stand and not be doing something.
It looks a little suspicious.
suspect. Yeah, for
sus.
sure. And then I didn't realize that it's not just my billboard. It's like ads for 55 others. So it's like Harrison Ford has a movie coming out and somebody's dropping a hot single. And like, so I'm standing there. And the first time I missed it because I was kind of standing like, because I hate, this is the other problem, but it makes me so frustrated because I don't want to be the person who's like, I don't know how to do this newfangled blah, blah,
There's
blah.
more than that too, because you and I, we have bonded over this before. You and I fucking hate getting our picture taken.
Hate.
I don't ever need to see my face as long as I live again. So just the notion that I've got to take my own picture of myself at a really bad angle with a terrible lens, it's not like that. We're not set up for success right out of the
No.
gates. Yeah.
And there's no part of me that's like, yeah, loving life. Like there's just no, and that's not a good thing. It's not like something I'm proud of. That's just how it is. And so like recently I went to apply for something. They were like, send a recent photo. I was like, I don't have one. Like I just don't have one. I'll send the billboard. So I'm standing there waiting because I missed it once, like waiting to cycle through all these things. And people are like kind of looking at me, which is my second worst nightmare. And then there was, a guy who like stands there to take people's pictures in Times Square. Sure. And he was genuinely like, what's this? What I got competition now?
Right.
And then I found the good spot, but the good spot was me standing with my phone like this, but I'm filming behind myself.
You got to get that billboard in your face.
Which is hard. You couldn't even tell it was me in the picture. Plus it was freezing cold. It was Dax. It was freezing cold. I had like weird glasses on and like a hat and like, and
you look very cute.
Thank you. Yeah. And I'm set, but I was looking like as closer to me than you are now was a hot dog man who's like also kind of looking at me. Cause as much as this is our world now, people are rightly like, what are you filming, lady? Yeah. Like, I'm making a hot dog. What more do you need to know?
It looks like you're pointing the camera at him.
Yes. And so he like literally, after a while was kind of like, can I help you? And I was like, I am so sorry. I am just terrible. I felt so stupid. Anyway, this is my billboard. It was harrowing. But I got it.
Oh, that's funny.
But you said it took you 30 minutes.
And I literally walked away. This is like, I think this is a sign of personal growth. I walked away. I was like, all right, I'm not going to I saw it. It's fine. And then I stopped halfway down the block and I was like, Lauren Graham, you turn yourself or you walked up here like through Times Square and like, this is a moment and, take your time. Don't be embarrassed. There's so many things I don't do because I'm like too embarrassed.
Right.
And so I was like, fuck, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
Some people are embarrassed. I find it odd too.
We have one daughter, Delta, who doesn't have an ounce of self-consciousness in her.
Good job.
And what a thing to observe.
What a thing.
Your life can be so fun.
Yes, right.
Oh, I can't believe it. I mean, it's her mom.
Yes.
Kristen largely is quite unself-conscious.
Right.
And
where does that come from? That's the better question.
Genetic. Because we can't train her to do that. She just came out like Kristen.
But modeling, I mean, she grew up seeing her. And I feel like, and you're interesting with embarrassment. You get embarrassed, but you also like getting embarrassed.
That's my way of taking the power back. Because I
Right.
do get very self-conscious and very embarrassed, but I'm so stubborn. I refuse to let that be a defeat. So I have to. But now I genuinely do. Monica will tell you, we were at the movies and I was carrying the biggest, like a comical, if you were directing this scene, you go, the popcorn's too big. They don't make them that big, right?
Right.
I don't know how starving I was at that point, or I thought you and Jess were going to take a lot of it, but I had a gallon of popcorn and I had like sincerely 100-ounce Diet Coke and then some Milk Duds or something. And we're walking and I slip as if there were a banana peel on the steps.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I go completely up in the air and land on my back and the fucking popcorn got thrown up in the air. It was cartoonish.
Yeah.
And even before I land, I'm laughing so hard that I know I'm also going to almost pee my pants. So like once I land, I'm now pinching my penis because I'm afraid I'm going to pee my pants.
Were you literally pinching
Yes,
it?
because I know to do that if it's going to be bad. I just like put some pressure on
So
that.
the embarrassing part was the popcorn?
Yes.
But
I'm very proud
there
of
you
the
are, a grown
penis
man.
pinching. No, that's a guy who knows how to handle his business.
True. I don't think I've ever seen you be embarrassed because you have that way about you. And especially in this role, you're in charge. I feel like you know how to put the other person at ease and also be like, thank you so much, goodbye. Like I feel like you now you're in charge. You're the host of this moment of somebody coming up to you.
And again, no, I'm just saying, I think that's a control thing.
Right.
I think I was very self-conscious as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I just at some point was like, we can't live we're going to have to
Right.
approach this differently. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just highly self-conscious, and
Yeah.
as is my other daughter,
Yes.
who's very much like me.
Yeah.
They're in the same house with the same instruction.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Right.
One question I didn't ask you last time is, how well do you think you could do on the SAT today? Our friend Lauren was a SAT tutor for the Princeton, like a good one.
Yeah.
Princeton review.
That was a little bit of a racket, I have to say, in that, like my SATs were fine. I don't remember what they were. They weren't
Like 1,500-ish?
That's really good.
What are they
they've
out of
changed
16?
1,600 back then.
Oh, yeah. So even for anything above 13 is pretty good?
I think so.
I don't even
It
know.
was 13 or maybe early,
I
like
bet
low.
you were in the 15s.
I don't think
You're
so.
very bright.
Because I remember there was an expectation that I would score higher.
Okay.
That some teacher was like, I'm surprised you didn't do better. That's always great. But I was a tutor in some capacity. I scored well enough on the test you had to take to teach the test kind of thing, which was
Yes.
probably like a sort of an SAT. And then you learn the test. Then you learn how to teach that. And that made me a teacher of other tests I'd never taken. So it was a good gig. And having that gig just led to more teaching of tests. But
my two questions are, one, you would have had to inadvertently pick up the whole test at some point.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm saying, if you would have taken it at the end of that job, you probably
Yes.
would have gotten a pretty outstanding score,
Well,
yeah?
And I don't know what the test is now. I think there's more free form writing, which there should be, because otherwise what you learn in learning how to teach that test is how to take a multiple choice test,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
how many you should eliminate. And it's not really learning vocabulary or math or
It's like
anything.
a tactical approach.
Yes, it is. And I'm not sure it would still work, but I'm still very, I think the way you have a good vocabulary is reading and writing, and I still read and write a lot. And I play every single New York Times game that is on the phone. Is that doing anything for me? I don't know.
I
but
think so, yeah.
I love
Do you
them
like
too.
where connections are is our obsession?
every single one. There's one that's called, I forget, but it's
Strands.
Strand's the one where you're doing the word.
It's like a word search, but you can go all over
There's
the
that
place.
one that's new, but there's the one where you have to do words. It's called like
Letterbox.
Letterbox. Thank you.
Thanks, Wabbit.
What's Letterbox?
Letterbox is really, I find, a good challenge because you have to use up all the letters within a certain number of words. You can repeat, but it's so.
I've played that.
You're
That's a
sort
good
of
one.
strategically like, how am I going to work the cue in kind of thing. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so when you were doing that job, I don't. This is a very weird comparison, but I think of Epstein, right? He was like a teacher at a private school. He was lying about his credentials and teaching at a private school, and he wooed this man whose kid he was teaching, who was a big investment banker, and ended up getting a job with that guy through having met through the kid. So I went to your SAT thing, and I was like, did you interact with all these like privileged kids, and did the dads come and make moves on you? What was happening on this?
No, I remember because, at this time I'm 22 or 3 maybe. So I'm still a little closer to the 18-year-olds in a way. Like I remember, not in any kind of way, but I remember having a student where I was like, if this, like I would go out with this guy.
Yeah.
But no, the thing I noticed the most, I had that job, but also
Go out with this guy.
later. But I also was I led bike tours. A couple of summers, and the thing in those jobs is you don't really see the parents. This is more the thing where they're like, "You guys good? Okay, bye." So the interaction with the parents was pretty low, I have to say.
The SAT tutor, you would do it in their homes?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the parents weren't really. No, I'm trying to think. I had more success as a waitress.
Sure.
Dated the bartender.
That's your weird, fun dichotomy as a human, I think.
That I'll date the bartender.
Yes, because you have like a healthy dose of anxiety and overthinking things.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a side of you that like understands restaurant culture
Yeah.
and can get down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think if I didn't have the other one, I'd be unbearable. But I have a pretty good. I'm fun. I'm a good hang.
You can party.
And a restaurant is like a pretty good hang. But the other person who always asks, "Did people hit on me?" is Ray Romano, because I was a cocktail among my many waitressing jobs. I was a cocktail waitress at the Improv in New York City, right out of college. And Ray's always like,
"You're beautiful, but you're." Hold on, don't fucking do this. You were a fucking smoke show when you were younger. I've seen a lot of these pictures of you recently. Yeah.
Dax.
Super curly hair. Yeah.
I did not identify that way.
But you were. You just missed it.
Well, thank you. So, but I also think I maybe gave off a thing like, first of all, I'm doing these jobs. These jobs are really hard. Mm-hmm. I just want to go home and go to sleep. I was always a person who had like a long-term boyfriend or no thing. I was not like a dater.
Yeah.
But the other person who always says like, "Did I hit on you?" was Ray Romano at the comedy club.
He wonders if he himself hit on you.
He can't remember.
Sure. Yes.
He assumes he did, B, and he did not, C.
That's kind of an insult.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
really do the math.
And he's asked me more than once. And I'm like, Ray, if I have to tell you one more time. But there were
what I hear is he really regrets not hitting on you. That's
all right,
what I hear.
I'll take it. He's the best. But I do have a thing for like, comics are just, real tough. But I love them so much.
Well, they're challenging, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
It's a rough life, and but anyways,
brutal.
Really fun.
It's a
brutal.
mean, brutal world.
And I can't imagine it now for people. Like, what is it now? There's my godson Clyde's buddy. They're 23. He's like moving to New York. This kid, like his dad is a successful screenwriter, and like he knows the business, and he's going to New York to try his hand at stand-up.
Yeah, I applaud it.
I remember from the club, people would like sit in the back. They were pretty supportive, I guess, but also there's that thing of like, maybe they'll die and then I won't die. Then it's a real more cutthroaty thing.
Yes.
Like there's been obviously all this stuff around the Saturday Night Live 50th, which like I can't get enough. But you've read every book. I've read every book. I have watched everything to do with it. But for my money, there was not enough time spent on people's auditions. And there's a whole like series about it. But there's a thing where like Bill Hader's in the elevator, and one of them had props and the other one didn't have props. It was like Andy Samberg and him, and they're being like, shoot, I should have brought props. The other one being like, I shouldn't have props. Like, that thing of like, how do you get there? How do you like start these careers is so fascinating to me.
When you say you didn't identify as the smoke show that Dax identified you as, then were you like, my quote worth is in humor, is in being smart, those things. Yeah.
She skipped a grade.
I skipped grade when I was little, and I was one of the only kids in school whose mom was not around. So I think those two things were weird at the time. So it teaches you to read a room, and we all have a version of what our sensitivity is to reading the room. I think May has a really developed reading the room from being as from just being in a lot of rooms with a lot of older people and having a sense, for your own success and protection of like, how am I going to get through this?
How to survive it.
Yeah. And so I think that maybe put me on a little bit of a back foot being younger than everybody. And for some reason, the aspect of like, but also I could read to the degree that they skipped me out of kindergarten. Yes. Somehow I didn't borrow from that. Like I didn't borrow from like, but this is a privilege and like a really cool thing. I was always sort of trying to like lay low, that my dad remarried. I wasn't without women in my life, great aunts and friends and babysitters even who were fantastic, but it's not like having a mom in the house,
You're staring at your whole childhood going, right. Oh, and you put on makeup that way and you do this and you.
Any of that.
Oh, and she said hi to dad that way and he kind of blushed.
And it's really driven home right now because my one sister has 3 kids, but my other sister has 1 who is a 4.5-year-old now, which is the age my mom sort of started to go. They live in Manhattan and I see them a lot. So I'm seeing this age.
Yes.
And it's always kind of been said to me like this injury or experience is not as present for me as it was, but clinically I can look at it and especially knowing this child as I do and see what that age is. I never really saw it and thought about what would that be if suddenly the person,
Imagine her now without her mom for the next. No.
Cannot imagine.
I had the same story about my dad. I'm like, I didn't ever have one, so I didn't pine for it. I didn't miss him because I didn't have it. So but bullshit.
Yeah. But, it just has to be said, like, my father did an incredible job. There was lots of family around. I had lots of cousins. You do whatever you have at hand.
Yeah.
And I did have the fact of having this unconventional for that time. Now it's less unusual, but
you were certainly the only kid in your whole high school being raised by their dad.
Well, it wasn't by the high school. He was remarried. I was the only kid in the elementary school
for sure
who did not have a mom in the picture. And like, they were curious about it. The teachers would be like, who does your hair? Like, who, and because it was still a more traditional time, like it would always be a thing if there was like a show and costumes needed to be sewn, and my dad would like ask his secretary, it was stuff like that.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did she?
She went to England.
She left.
She was pursuing a singing career at the time.
She was pursuing all kinds of things. And I think they were so young, I don't know that she had an idea of what it was going to, be. And
you're incredibly fair in the first interview, I think, to her and your dad. They were both very, very young.
Yeah.
They got married and the dad took off to Vietnam for 2 years or 3 years to be an interpreter, and they were in Japan.
Well, who he worked for was USAID, which is recently in the news for being somewhat dismantled.
When I read that this morning, I was thinking like, wow, yeah, you actually have a connection to that.
Well, I got confused because we had talked at the beginning about her passing. Right? Yeah.
She also died when she was 61.
She also died. Right.
So
they not only split up, but then she got ill in her 50s.
Got it. Okay.
And so it was a pretty stressful path. But I would go, to England to visit her. And then meanwhile, my father had my sister and my brother and like a much more kind of nuclear and traditional and very warm family. So I had all the experiences in a way. I don't want to say that I had no confidence. I mean, I did and do. No, yeah, I don't know. And also I think I didn't identify in high school. I was just specifically thinking about high school. There were the girls who were the like sanctioned, like these are the hot girls. And
anointed.
I just didn't like... It didn't feel like a lack or anything. And like I had a high school boyfriend who's like, not that that's the gauge, but I mean, it was a little bit of like, do you feel like guys are into you or whatever?
Exactly.
My mom was one of the like people would stop on the street. Like she both was beautiful, but also she really owned it. She dressed the part. She had a kind of a swagger that just didn't, I just was like, okay, that's not me. Like, it wasn't a judgment even. Yeah. It was just a different way of being and being in the world. And aging was difficult for her.
I'm going to stop psychoanalyzing you, but the one thing I'll add is I think whatever parent takes you, you'll have a loyalty to that parent that you have to. This just occurred to me the other day interviewing Josh Brolin. It's like, just think of the notion that you recognize these adults can split. If you just acknowledge like that's a reality. Yeah, so one of your parents can bail. Presumably the other one could. I don't know. So you have this really deep loyalty. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I was like, I'm like my mom. I'm not like that guy that abandoned her. Well, I'm very much like him. It's taken me my whole life to recognize, no, in fact, I'm kind of a carbon copy of him. But I was defining myself in opposition of him because he didn't have qualities I admired. He wasn't around.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe subconsciously you also identified more with your dad and wanted to identify, and he was a cerebral, competent.
Yeah, and fun at a party.
Yeah.
I will say. And it was not even that I didn't want to be what my mom was. It's just, it was so mystifying. Like I would go visit and yes, she was in a band or she was in fashion or she was in, and people really reacted to her. I will say, I think my sister carries herself like she's got such incredible sophistication and like great fashion sense. And like, I was like, I'm in like a high top Reebok, and like, it just was different. So it wasn't even a loss necessarily. I mean, obviously not having her in my life is a loss, but it was. And when we talk about identity and sort of how you both are given yours and craft it as well.
Yes.
I was like, I like being, one of the guys. Like, I'm really comfortable there, and that kind of came with being fun and funny, and
Yeah.
The party that you are. How was the Super Bowl?
really fun.
I've gone twice to work there, and it's a little overwhelming for me.
Totally overwhelming.
Okay.
Are you kidding? With all the
crazy.
stuff we just talked about.
And then I was telling Monica, I don't ever worry about terrorism, but I'm like, I just started thinking like, well, this would be an ideal place.
Sure.
And I'm here. And why?
Especially
I
now.
don't even care.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, especially now, and Trump was there. So on the one hand, more security. On the other hand,
Great target. Yeah.
Sure. I was with Joel McHale, who is like,
You love each other.
we love each other, and he makes everything fun. But this was the same group because I went to Fox Upfronts this year because the Tubi's a Fox subsidiary. At the Fox Upfronts, it was me, Joel, John Hamm, one other, like a couple, maybe other TV shows. Like TV now is football and 10 football players.
100%
It was
is.
like 10 football players. And again, girls guy, I was really happy there. I was like, everyone's like 3 feet taller than me. Like, I was just like, I love being around a bunch
You felt
of
like a tiny little
jocks. Yeah, I was like,
Baby little-
anyway.
Don't break me.
But also like Ham is great. Will Arnett was there. Like, I was very comfortable. So our box was Joel, Rob Lowe, Gordon Ramsay, who was lovely. Like, so it just was, that made it fun. And then it's like, you're just there with snacks and, people stop by and like, so, but you don't really see the game from there. And people were like, how was the halftime show? I was like, it was this big. So, but what an honor to go and be asked.
Last thing I want to say before we get to your show. We both have read the Cher biography.
It's so good.
How fucking good is that biography?
It is such an interesting, even if you don't care about Cher, which I don't know how you can't.
Right, exactly.
It's such a snapshot of a different time.
Oh my
Of a
God,
different
yes.
Hollywood, of a different Los Angeles.
I found it like there's a strength to her version of her story that I thought, well, if you get to choose, that's the way to do it.
I think it helped that she was wildly talented, and to a certain degree, nobody was going to mess with her.
She did get her own leverage and broke free. So
Right.
that does, you're right. I think that since she landed on top, it's probably easier for her to see it that way.
And I think she'd already, as we do, she's replicating or finding familiar what was already going on in her life and her childhood, which was not a huge amount of stability. And my own version, we all have our own version. Like, I was out on my bicycle. I had a paper route at like 12. Like, we were not, and that was even an earlier time, but we didn't know the things we should be worried about as much as we know today. There's so much to worry about now, and so many ways to worry, and so much access to things to worry about.
Yes.
And it just was a different time. I even think when I first came here in 96 or 7 or something, it was like, I had a little bit of money in the bank. I had done some commercials, which I wasn't too,
Well, I almost
precious
wondered if the reason you didn't want to go back to him is like it represented something.
No,
like, almost
I had
like going back.
I had a
Get off me.
No, I had a blast, and commercials were really like how I was able to make a little. No, it was more but I'm doing commercials as like you guys should try Liquid Death or whatever. Why is it called that? But
That's not a good commercial when you question the name.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason
Wait,
you're
let
not
me
doing
do a better-
commercials
let me do a better
anymore.
Liquid Death. What could be more refreshing? Anyway.
Yeah, we nailed
Why
it.
did they name it that? Cut.
No, I don't have any. No, I love doing them. I made money. I thought I always, and also even when we did that Walmart thing, there are a couple of skills I have that do not help me in any other realm except in the realm to which they belong. Like, if you tell me that something was 32 seconds and you need it to be 30 seconds, I can pretty much do that.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
You know, Monica's done more commercials than both of us combined. She's been in 100 because she's the most
Not
successful
100.
commercial actress I've ever met in my life.
That's
she
amazing.
regularly had 5 nationals
Oh
running
my
at
God.
the same time.
And what is the world of it now? Is it still good
I haven't
money?
done them in a long
Okay,
time
right.
too, but it was good money,
Yeah.
but not.
It wasn't
Not
as
like
good.
it was.
No,
Yeah.
that was the promise. Like you could get this one commercial
Right.
and you could get $250,000, and that never
No.
happened. But it was a fun little time.
Yeah. As an actor starting out, it gave you a day. Like, here's my day. I'm going to do this audition. I'm going to run into so-and-so. I'm going to have lunch at the diner. Like it just gave you a
You felt
purpose.
you had the illusion of being productive.
Exactly.
Okay, one thing you have to say to Monica because she's the I don't want to say the
I know.
biggest.
I see it on your paper, and I'm so
You're already
excited.
titillated,
Yeah,
right?
I am.
But you've met Taylor Swift.
I have.
Tell us everything.
I learned this. This is fun backstage. I was flying to Lisbon with Lincoln and we had not had the passport and then we got it. And then we had this 5-hour layover for the next flight. And then God bless the universe, you and Sam Pancake are at
So
the counter.
fun. Yeah.
So we got to spend a couple hours in a lounge together, which was the
That's
longest time we had
fun.
spent together in a couple of years. I cherished that little
Me too.
layover. Yeah.
Me too.
But that's where I learned this
Who's
story.
Sam Pancake?
Oh, he's the most lovely, talented. It's her best friend who's
He's
a
the
really
best.
funny actor.
Oh, fun.
He's fantastic. And we kind of cooked up in the world of we didn't know the strike was ending, but strike was happening. And I had a book that had come out the year before, but then the paperback came out. We just kind of were like, we did a live event.
Yeah.
And then we got asked to do another one. And then we were like, hold on, maybe this is what we're doing now for a while. And so we were going to Scotland, I
Edinburgh?
think. Yeah, we were going to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Fun.
And it just was like traveling with my buddy. And we kind of made it into a show. And he was like the moderator. It was really fun.
Cool.
But that's where we ran into you guys. Yeah, I was at a small party. I didn't know she was going to be there. I didn't want to be the person. I just was trying to be so cool or something. I don't know, but she was lovely, and she asked about Gilmore Girls. She said, did you know it was going to be such a thing? I just walk in, and again, I don't want to lean on this. I'm growing and maturing, but I assume no one knows anything.
Yep.
And no one has seen anything I've ever
Which is
done.
literally impossible.
That's how
but
I
yeah.
feel. I move through the world as well.
I think it's just safer that way, but I genuinely, it's not a false humility. I just assume she's a very busy
it's
person.
best to start there.
Yes,
and then
I
you're
think so.
you're super pleasantly surprised when
Yes.
it's the other thing.
Right. And this was a couple of years ago too. So because it's even grown since then. And she just was really lovely. And I'm friends with Jenny Han, who is the showrunner of The Summer I Turned Pretty, among other things. And Taylor had given them a song to use. It was like part of the show. And so I sort of said, Jenny Han and blah, blah, blah. And she knew what I was talking about. And then I just was like, anyway, so
You're much younger, but I'm very intimidated by you.
which
Were
I
you
know.
or no?
What?
Intimidated by her.
It was more like I didn't want to bother her. But I
Yeah.
mean, we're at a small party. She had friends there. Like it's a version that I'm really trying to get rid of, which I've had with some actresses I have admired and worked with, Diane Keaton and Meryl Streep, of that thing where I'm like, surely you have other things to do. But now sometimes I'm in that position and I'm like, not really,
Yeah, like
Exactly.
you think you're being respectful, but
Right.
you could also be being read as aloof and disinterested.
Oh God. I mean,
you
which
have
would
to
be my
acknowledge
worst
that
nightmare.
that's,
Yes.
that's they could walk away thinking
Yes.
she had zero interest in me. We worked together for 2 months. She didn't ask me a single question.
Right.
I was in Godfather. She could have inquired about that. So you want to know anything?
Or even if they know what's happening,
Yes.
that's still like sad for them probably. Like no one
Right.
feels that they can come talk to me for
Right.
real.
Yeah. I had that with Candice Bergen too, in that movie that I did with Joel. She couldn't have been nicer, and we were ended up sitting next to each other. I've read all her books. I've seen everything she's ever been in, and I don't know. It's a bad. This is the day that it doesn't exist anymore. I'm going to talk your ear off.
Yes.
Beware the next person who works with me. Because, this is what I was going to say. I remembered the Instagram thing, which is Tubi did a thing where they interviewed, they don't love being called the kids on the show, but we all called them the kids on the show, or they were like, what's it like to work with Lauren Graham? Which again is like just a premise I would not have thought of. And a couple of them, they were all super great and nice, but a couple of them said she's really professional. And I was like, I think I wasn't fun enough because professional, like I am very professional, and there was a lot to consider, and it's the first season of a show, and I'm a producer, and so I'm sort of thinking about lots of things all the time, and but I was like, I wanted them to be like, she's a laugh riot.
Yeah. I have the thing that, they say the best advice if you have a stalker is, or someone obsessed with you, is you can't say anything, because no matter what you say, even you're like, get out of my life, I can't stand you, they can twist that.
Right.
I have that skill with a positive.
Yes.
Right. I'll make it. I'll make it a dig.
Oh, so I didn't have enough blue on or
like
whatever?
Even you being professional. It's like,
that's
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay. So the Z Suite, first of all, what did you think the name was when your agent told you you were in a lobby
Sam
of a
and I
hotel?
were on tour. I was in the lobby of a hotel, and he's like, I have and like, we've been working together for so long. Like, he knows how to like tell me something. He was like, there's a show and blah, blah, blah. He was saving, it's on a network you've never heard of for the very end. But I actually, just jumping ahead, did not and do not view that as a barrier to entry, having been on the WB when it was quite new, and
it can be a blessing.
And it is part of what I do think I'm starting to understand about the world of media that we're in, which is you never know.
So this is where I ask in a non-insulting way, do not try to find something negative. Explain Tubi to me.
It is its own streaming platform. It is free. It is more like television as we knew it. It's free. Comes on some televisions. It is an app you can get on your phone. If you sign up, it still doesn't cost any money, but then you can download, you can record, you can use it as we use our apps. It has a really friendly interface with, like, if you like old movies, and then it has live. So, if you got to look a little more for, like, if you're a fan of some baking or cooking show, there's live, there's movies, and they're starting to do original content. And we were their first scripted comedy. They've been incredible to work with. They've been like really collaborative. So it's all that stuff of like, they're excited too, which you don't necessarily get with your established things. And they're a little like, well, let's try this.
Yeah.
And
they're more flexible and open to, but we didn't even get to the punchline. So when he calls you,
so he calls me and he's giving me all the stuff, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. And this is the character. And it's called The Disease Suite. And I was like, wait, it's a hospital show? I was like, that is a terrible title. And we went through the rest of the conversation with me still thinking, he did not correct me because he didn't understand what I was saying. So I was like, okay. Like, I was like, it doesn't sound like a comedy to me. Wait, who has a disease? Like, and we really had like 4-part conversation about it. He's like, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Z Suite.
Disease Suite.
By the way, because I am so out of corporate America, I didn't know that Z Suite, I mean, I quickly learned, but is a play on C-Suite, which is your executive lounge. And of course, this is Gen Z takes over.
I have a whole issue with C-Suite because this is now ubiquitous that everyone knows what a C-Suite is. And I don't understand why it's called C. It's not like everyone there is a
CEO, CFO, COO.
Only the people with the C.
It's the chiefs. Office.
All the chiefs.
The suite where all the fancy people are.
Okay. What's your baseline about Generation Z? I think there's a bunch of kind of stereotypes about them, but I'm suspicious that they're not the numbers that we think.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I guess what the show asks is who's more ridiculous, like the people who have taken this corporate culture really seriously, or these people who are trying to have a better time, work from home, have kooky parties involving llamas or whatever. And what I like about the show is that it really doesn't take a side. I'm as ridiculous as the kids are ridiculous. And it's fun because it's not, meant to advocate for anybody.
Side. Well, skewer both sides.
Right. Yeah. the thing I value more than anything. I will do the disease suite or till I could die, but I've got to have a good day with people that I like and trust and believe in and laugh with. And like, we had that, and you just don't necessarily get that right away.
I think in a very healthy way, though, again, 7 years ago, we already felt this way, which is like, you get to a certain point where for me, it was like, yeah, I'm not going to be in a Marvel movie. And I'm not that like that, and yours was, I'm not going to be Sandra Bullock. And then at that point, I think a very healthy transition happens where you go like, okay, so I'm going to focus on process because I'm not really in the results game as much anymore, but the process now means everything to me. And I think it's a very healthy thing to prioritize that.
To get to a place where I already got more than I thought I would. I feel so grateful, like, is the thing that I'm like, now I get to do this without the pressure, I guess, of, there's still pressure and I want the show to come back and I want people to like it.
Without
and I want,
you
already did it. You proved yourself. Yeah. You've been on multiple things that are incredible.
The fact that things that we got to do together and, that things are still kind of out there. And
that's the thing that very few people get, which is like something that just keeps getting enjoyed for a long, long time seems almost impossible. And that's really rare.
If only I had merch.
I was thinking that when you guys were talking about parent hoodie stuff. Yeah. Big mistake for them not to do a parent hoodie.
Oh my gosh.
I mean.
You can't only imagine what, there were 13 cast members and we bought the gift. We would cumulatively chip in on whatever we were getting the crew, and the amount of emails that would go back and forth to decide whether we were getting this mug or this. Oh boy. Fucking
why was that such a hard
it was impossible that these what was the brand of sweatshirt we get that was kind of terry cloth? It was,
like not a North Face, but no, it's the other one.
Patagonia.
Yeah. Had to go. It's like, are we gonna go Patagonia tall neck or are we going all the way with the puffer vest version?
I love that.
I know I was making among the lowest of all the actors, and I was kind of like, "Fucking, let's get him a mug, man!"
That was complicated
I didn't
too.
Say it, but I was like, "Guys,
we tried to prorate it so that, but then it was sort of like then people, that's right. It was like that's not fair. And so it was.
Maybe I've told you this, maybe I haven't, but every job I had ever had in my life prior to Parenthood, I made a point to find out what everyone was making.
How?
I'd always figure it out.
You just asked.
I'd either get into a conversation where I'd get it out of them or I'd back channel through an agent. I would figure it out. And
it's amazing.
I went into Parenthood going, I'm going to not find out what anyone makes. And I was so happy on the show, knowing I was making, I was like, if I find out Jabbar's making twice as much as me, how can I enjoy going to work? But I enjoy so much going to work until I find out my son is making more than me.
Yeah, right.
But that was the first time I ever broke that habit.
Yeah.
And boy, was it a blessing. So your character, Monica.
Wow. Wow.
She's insisted as a nod to you that be her character's name. It was originally named Gail, and you're like,
that's not going to
work.
We
did fuss with the last name. I had various last names because clearance and whatnot, and
which I never understand.
I don't either. But I really cared about what her name was, and for a while she was Monica. A bunch of other things, and I was like, this doesn't sound like who I want this person to be.
Strong?
It's got to be Padman, but not Padman.
But we can't do that.
That's right.
Because I am not Indian, and that might be an issue.
Some appropriation stuff might pop up for you.
Be mindful of
yes, exactly. There were the various Mick somebodies, Monica Mick, none of those cleared.
Well, what we land on?
Monica Marks.
Nice.
McMarks.
Thank you.
That's
I
nice.
like that.
But we meet you, and you're winning a huge award for being an incredible advertising agent.
Yes.
Is that what we call them?
Executive.
Sorry.
I run an advertising agency called Atelier.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a big word we talk about all the time.
That's a big ding, ding, ding for us.
You can't imagine how much you just walked into. Yeah. Because I was taught that name by Monica, who's a fashionista.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you watch, they're going to start calling Subway an Atelier. It's going to be like artisan.
Right. Yes. Right.
Where it's like, it means
nothing.
It's,
Right.
They're going to ring
But
this.
it makes you feel like
fancy
it's
sounding
worth
name.
the $10 you're paying for the sandwich. Yeah.
Yes, the Atelier, the artisan sandwich from the Atelier shop,
Yes.
Subway.
Yes.
You're super well established. You get a new client, or not a new client, but you have a client. You fuck up an ad campaign. You say all somethings matter.
I say all vibes matter. It's
All
for
vibes.
vibes headphones. And this was something I cannot tell you how many conversations we had about what is believable, even in the world of comedy, that this person who's the head of this thing, who's risen up, who like, what's a believable mistake that would get her canceled without being too, that we think would have gotten through, yet is tone deaf.
Yes, tone deaf, not racist. That's the kind of the line we want to straddle.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We don't
That's exactly
want
right.
it to
Be like, oops, I didn't realize. Yeah. So
yeah, all vibes matter. You could
That's great.
in the right context, you could not put those two together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that spells your demise. And you
Yes.
also have a young woman that works for you.
Yes.
And she's worked there for 168 days, only 43 of which were in the office.
Right.
And she thinks she's ready to run the place.
Right.
Now, this stereotype, I do have a few friends who own businesses who they have some young employees that are completely shocked they're not vice president within like a year of work.
I know plenty of these stories because that was something too. I kept saying to people, is this believable? And they were like, oh yeah, I have, a million examples of it's just growing up differently. And yeah.
It's probably exaggerated and also quite real.
Yes.
I was almost thinking when I was doing my research on you, I'm like, I wonder if part of it is it's totally not their fault. They would have been at an age where they watched Mark Zuckerberg start the biggest company on earth at 26 years old. Like there would be a lot of examples for them that we certainly didn't have. So some of it I think is not even their fault.
Right.
They're just like, yeah, by the time you're 26, you should own Facebook.
Yeah. It's also parenting changes. And we see, it's why all these generations get named because whatever the cultural experience their parents were having, I was more latchkey kid where like, she's probably fine. And then
we'll find out tonight at 9 when I get home.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's more of like a helicopter thing that happened that probably, I just always remember this statistic, and I don't even know what generation it applied to, but that kids had a tough time picking up a water pitcher and balancing it because so much had been done for them. Like nobody was like, you pour the water, you pour the thing. So like things like that you don't even think of. Yeah. But I think of that as like, you wouldn't think as a parent, stop.
You're really at war with that thing.
Well, it's just reminding me how much I play with my hair. Just things you wouldn't think of as a parent. Like I need to make sure my child has basic motor skills at the dinner table or whatever.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I knew a family who, their kid didn't learn to walk very, very late. And my mom was like, of course not. The kid gets picked up and carried everywhere. Doesn't need to walk. Kid's a genius.
Right.
So why
Right.
would it waste any time learning to walk?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely, when I'm around like friends' kids and stuff, I'm like, it's fine. She's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So you get canned.
Yeah.
And then you build an entire replica of your office in your home, which is fantastic. And then now these young kids start running the agency.
Yeah. They really bonded with each other, which was fantastic. And that's one of the positives of being on location in a first season of a show.
Yeah.
They had each other and they really hung out together and it seemed like had a good time. I was busy being professional, so I wouldn't know.
Studying for the next
That's the plight
day.
of the boss. The
Yeah,
boss.
right.
It really is.
Right.
Here's a joke in the show that I have unfortunately heard people in my life claim they have, which is one of the younger workers is late and he says, I have time blindness.
Yeah. I know.
That's a thing.
You haven't heard that?
No.
I've now heard people our age claim to have time blindness. This is a new
That
concept.
same character also says he's audibly fragile when someone's too loud.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh my God. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, so it's great, but I'm sort of awful in my own ways. And it was really, you're not asking about this, but it was so many things I hadn't done really, or hadn't done in a while. I wanted there to be a core of what is believable and what is just heartbreaking about being replaced.
Yes.
And losing your, it's not just the job. It's like relevance and sense of self and,
was all this worth it? And I'm disappearing.
Yeah.
And the world's changing.
Yeah.
And none of it was for anything.
Right.
You're so fun to work with. I'm really jealous of those people. And I miss it so much.
I know. It was a good time. And that was one time when the genuine kids on Parenthood would be like, ugh, I can't make it to yoga. And I was like, you have no idea how good you have it. And you better be thankful. And someday you're going to call me from a show and be like, I had to work 14 hours.
It's all going to go downhill from here. This is as good as I'll ever get.
It was just, the most wonderful group of people, the most wonderful material, the most wonderful Jason Kadams,
The shooting pace was
the most wonderful hours.
You got to actually act nearly the whole time you were there, which is impossible.
Yeah.
So we were super lucky.
You keep dodging this question in every interview, but I'm going to pretty much make you answer it.
Great.
I mean, you're a part of a phenomenon, which is Gilmore Girls. And certainly we saw Will and Grace come back in a very satisfying way for everybody involved. How this seems insane that we wouldn't be doing this show again.
Well, we did it for Netflix, right?
Yes, you did 4 movies.
Right. And I think there was I don't know because I definitely didn't read anything then, but there seems to have been a mixed reaction in terms of feeling satisfied that people got what they wanted. Okay. For me, it was a incredibly satisfying, beautiful, cried every day experience. I could mark some growth I felt I had in terms of that character, that time working with Amy. Like it felt different. So all the stuff that I loved about it was the same, and then it was better and different in the grown-up, like more grown-up version. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you honor that piece? How do you honor those people who have kept it alive?
Yeah.
Is it giving them more? Is it doing like what Reese Witherspoon's doing with, Legally Blonde, the prequel, right. Is this a Captain Marvel multiverse where you want to follow, whoever and or do you try to go back? I mean,
what I think Will and Grace did right, is they gave you exactly what you had the first time.
Right.
Like we can accept it that the story's now progressed,
right? But
you got to keep it in our really familiar, fun.
That's a really good point. Because I always say. And it's not me trying to get out of the question. It is literally what I could picture given everyone's lives and schedules and whatever is Christmas movie. Because that's what I think the Brits do so well with their beloved shows is that you get like a Christmas special. So it's not episodes, but it's seeing all your friends together again. And it's one of the reasons I thought the Walmart commercial was a sweet kind of, where are they now kind of thing? Yeah. Because speaking to like, have you seen the most recent Bridget Jones?
Not yet.
I'm like obsessed with the books, obsessed with the movies. I think they did an incredible job. Renee is incredible in it. And what it does is it gives you what that character always was, which is a single girl trying to understand the dating world, which you couldn't do with, you had to make her single again.
Right.
Yes. The engine of the whole thing was her being single.
That's right. Yeah. And then she's out and she's, she doesn't have, which it's the same dynamic.
Well, also like dating's a whole thing that still happens. Like it's actually real.
That's right. But dating has changed, right? Yeah, so it's like, how do you re-enter that?
Is there something weird though about weird maybe isn't the right word, but a little unsettling about seeing the person from so many years ago having not in the exact same spot they were?
I don't know.
No,
I mean, also fine. We don't look the same. There's no way you should or could be the same.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so is that, I don't know.
But that's TV. That's
TV.
That's
aging, isn't it? I mean, it's just being a person.
Crosby's never going to learn. You're never going to learn. That's the premise.
Well, but the problem is where we left the characters, or not the problem, but, now Lorelai and Luke got married. Now, Rory's maybe having a baby. So it's not going to be necessarily the two of us circling the gazebo. I mean, you have to
unravel some things.
You have to add, Ed Herman, God bless, has passed. Like, it just can't be the same, which is why I view it as best served in a holiday, in a sort of limited,
concise.
I think that's right.
Some people don't ever change.
I know. I think it, I don't know. I don't know if it gets less funny and more like, I don't know. I mean, Friends was my number one. I could not have loved it more. And I'm glad they never did that.
Right.
I'm glad it ended and they did it, and it can live like that for me forever.
And is it, you know, because I do still get asked and stuff, like, is it better for the folks at home to, is it literally just better to leave them wanting more?
I know. That's kind of how I
This
feel.
is you not doing commercials. They have
I'll
listen,
listen
hold on.
now.
I'm going to tell you right now. They have the thing. You can't erase it. You can't make it disappear. You can't dishonor it. You can't, all these fears, that's not.
Right.
You give them this other thing. Maybe they'll like it or they won't like it. It's not going to impact that. I really don't believe
thank God it isn't up to me. And what I have clearly said is if somebody calls me to do it, I'll do it.
I don't desire to act at all, but I deeply miss being on Parenthood.
Yeah.
And there is a version of that show I would probably do.
Yeah.
Because if it were 8 episodes or 10 episodes and it wasn't like I could manage my now real job.
Yeah.
My fear is more, is it like going back to your high school?
Right.
But I don't think so, because we were already like full-fledged adults. And when I see you, it lights me up every time. And when I'm with Trilling, which I spent a lot of time with Trilling, I'm just like enamored with being around him. None of that's changed.
You have reminded me that I'm angry about your friendship with Larry.
Okay.
I knew him first.
Yes.
I went to college with him.
I might have put more effort in.
You probably did.
Yeah.
And you're in town more.
Yes, I'm in town more.
But can I please come play with you guys sometime when you have dinner or something? I guess the question there too, I mean, maybe the reason that show kind of went away is once you get to, you know, someone having cancer. I mean, when you're on these family shows, there's only so many stories, that they don't tend to go on for 10 or 12 years. I mean, This Is Us is an example, but they didn't go that much longer.
I don't think so.
I mean, we did 6 years. That's about as long as you can do it.
Yeah.
But and I won't even give a fuck. I don't care how it turns out.
That's the problem. You just want to
I just want to go hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, from the bottom of my heart,
Me
I love
too.
you.
Yeah, this was so nice.
It's so
that
fun.
you came.
The Z Suite is out now on Tubi, and it's free. It's network TV for free as a streamer.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Thank you.
Yeah. So everyone watch the Disease Suite. Spelled Z. SUITE. I love you, and I'm so glad we got to hang out.
Me too.
And we've been supposed to sauna. You and I have had sauna plans for about a year and a half.
Because I find
done this interview
other
in the
people
sauna.
say, let's have lunch. Dax says, come over and sweat your face off.
Let's get stronger together.
In a bathing suit, which is like, that's not where my...
That's why he does it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's why a lot of people aren't taking my offer up. They don't want to be in a bathing suit.
It might be a red flag who does take you up.
Yeah,
on that
exactly.
offer.
Are there
Just saying.
takers?
Mostly other men. I love you.
Love you.
I
Wait,
love
real
you.
quick, we have to give you props really quick because you make the best banana bread I've ever had in my entire.
Oh, I haven't made that in so long.
During
I'll make
COVID,
it.
you made it, and we had it, and it was so.
You've been derelict in your duties.
I have. I used to make a really good cinnamon bread too.
Oh,
And maybe you can lure May over and I can see her, because that seems the only way I'll see her.
I will.
Okay.
We'll do that
Okay.
when they're back.
All right.
All right.
Love you again.
Love you. Get this microphone out of my way.
I sure hope there weren't any mistakes in that episode, but we'll find out when my mom, Mrs. Monica, comes in and tells us what was wrong. Are you so happy to be wearing your raincoat?
yeah. It's a good part, I guess.
That's his brown lining.
Brown lining, literally.
I was on the road at 6 a.m. this morning, driving to Anaheim, California, home of Disneyland, as you may know.
I do know that.
Thriving suburb in the greater
Los Angeles
metropolitan area, yes. To go to Expo West.
Okay.
Do you know about Expo West?
Nope.
I don't know a ton either.
Okay. Even after having gone.
That's right.
Okay.
70,000 attendees.
Wow.
It's a huge trade show for consumer products.
Oh, all kinds?
Grocers, products, buyers, suppliers,
Wow.
founders.
Oh.
And Sharon Beasley and I, Aaron Weekly, were on stage being interviewed.
Oh, you were interviewed. Oh, I thought you guys were like trying to sell your product.
Well, that's happening. Yeah, I had to come back to work to my real job.
Are they still there?
Yeah, they're still there.
Oh.
Wandering the halls of a huge convention.
Oh.
70,000 attendees.
That's great.
Rob, Google, how many cities in America have more than 70,000?
So I'm getting 50,000 or more. There's 510 urban areas in the U.S. with a population.
Out of 50 states, that's like 10 per state.
Okay,
I don't know what that does for us, but I feel like it's relevant.
Not a lot for me personally.
What I'm saying is this would be in the top 500 cities in America for population had this group incorporated into a city while they were watching this interview.
Okay, great. I'm just thinking about all these products, you know?
Yeah, a lot of products. It's crowded space.
So many products. And
go ahead.
I just, like, do we need more products? Unless it's filling a space.
Yes.
I do think you are filling a space with Ted Seekers. I don't think there's a lot of good NA beer.
I do too.
So I support that product.
Yes.
But overall, like everyone has a product.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to say I declare I'm against it.
Oh my goodness, what a controversial stance. Well, you like capitalism and you like the marketplace.
Of course. So it's
right?
not an anti-capitalist stance. It's more just like, do we need it, guys?
More of an enough already?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit more of an enough already mixed with like everyone famous has to have some product. Like not you, again, not you.
No, it can be. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't mean you.
That's why I love talking about Ted Seekers because this was not a cash grab. No one approached me. There's another guy with a celebrity with a beer brand.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very openly on a talk show saying like he got approached by people.
Yeah.
They handed him 5 things at a boardroom meeting and said, basically, will you put your name on this?
Yeah.
So this is like me and Aaron created a beer we wouldn't be embarrassed to order at a bar.
Yeah.
Right? We're not like, hey, do you have little duels? Could you bring it in a Budweiser? You know?
Yeah. I also think selling products is great. I have no beef with people who who are doing that.
We made it for ourselves and then we thought, oh, maybe people would also want it.
But I mean, even people who like don't really care about the product, but are like, look, I can slap my name on this and get eyes on it, and I think it's fine. I don't really have a problem with some of this bad things that other people might have problems with.
Yeah.
But I do think like when I go to Target, I'll say if I go to Target.
It's a great place to go.
And there's like so many tequilas.
Mm-hmm.
They're all one kind of tequila. They're all a celebrity brand tequila of one variety. It's not like they like put in a ton of effort to make it. Cause I think we recently talked about Paul Feig. Paul Feig has a gin.
Yes.
But that's like his passion.
Yeah, he's virtually a chemist.
Yes. And so that's great to me. But just
and my passion's partying.
It was.
No, it is. That's what Ted Seeker's all about. You can still fucking rage. You don't have to have alcohol.
Yeah, but do you think you rage?
Oh my God, yes. Aaron and I party hard.
I don't need to poke holes in your business.
Barbecue, laughing, screaming, 5 of them, not the sip one.
Of course.
Empty can. It's a party.
Yeah, but I think most people think when they hear party, they think like club, 4 a.m. like.
Oh, they're not thinking about it correctly.
I agree.
Parties is a state of mind. And I'm going to drop into a carefree tomorrow never comes attitude. That's a party to me.
I'm about parties too then.
Yeah. We party. We fucking get down here. What are you talking about? This is a major party.
I'm just telling you what the colloquial observation of the word party.
That they think it has to involve being intoxicated.
And being out late. People think partying is being out late, and they don't party with me because I'm in bed by 8.
Yes. But Aaron and I will be out late, okay? Rarely. But we would. You to
be honest that it's rare.
Yeah, but we would.
And then you used to get panicked because you haven't taken your sleep aids.
I'll give you a prime example. Aaron and I will be, which happens often, we're both binging a show together and it's midnight. We should go to bed. And I go, you just want to fucking party? And he's like, yeah, let's fucking go. And that means we'll watch till maybe 3 a.m. because tomorrow's not coming. That's tomorrow Dax's problem.
BTDT, that's like how I live.
BTDT?
I watched all of Running Point on Saturday. I watched the whole show.
Right. Let it rip.
I
Party.
was up late, and I guess I was partying.
Yes. I don't think we should let the people who are getting intoxicated own the space partying.
I like it. You're reclaiming.
That's right. Wait, back to I want to spend a little more time on this because I think you're representing how a lot of people feel. Like, oh God, this guy's got a vodka now.
Right. I don't mean to. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And I guess I can see it from both sides.
Well, let me be clear really quick. To me, it's not about like, oh, this guy has. It's not about the guy or the girl or the whatever. It's not about the person. It's about the space. It's like, guys, we just don't need another one of these.
Right. You're more like the category is.
Yeah,
is
pick a new category. Get a little creative. Look and see what's needed. Yeah. Then do that.
That's what's cool about Danny.
Ricardo.
No.
Nope.
He did
Trejo.
wine. Nope. Danny DeVito.
Oh.
He did Limoncello. What is it? Limoncello?
I love limoncello.
Limoncello. Like when we did When in Rome 18 years ago.
He was ahead of the game.
He had limoncello because that's his drink.
This is the same with beauty. Beauty insiders also feel like this. Like, wow, everyone has a makeup brand or a beauty brand or skincare brand. Exactly. Something. And I agree, but I also think there is some space there. Like, I do like the people who are coming in with a more diverse color palette.
Okay, sure.
Things like
some
that.
Browns and light browns. And,
yeah, because there's a lot of
whitey.
There's just a lot of variation within darker colors, and that's not available.
Yeah.
I was just asking Simone yesterday. I was like, "What did you put on my face again for the SAG Awards?" And she was like, "I used 2."
She had to do some.
Yeah, you got to use
chemistry.
That's right.
Oh, I was only gonna. Not that anyone cares. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I'm going to. If you look at the last 6 spirits that were created and then became valuated or over $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars. The truth is 4 of those 5 are celebrity driven, whether it's Conor McGregor or it's the handsome McClooney.
George Clooney, but his is good.
Well, yeah, they could be good or they could be.
I guess with that, I didn't even know that was his brand.
Yeah.
I was drinking it, Casamigos,
shout out.
Yes, I was drinking
He already exited, I think.
Oh, good for him. And then I learned. Like, I think he invested in that, right?
Oh, he was right out in front of it.
Oh, he was?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. There's several, they have worked. And what you have to acknowledge is if you're a distiller or a distillery, breaking through this insanely cluttered space is nearly fucking impossible.
Yeah.
You would really have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars marketing this product.
Yeah.
Or you get The Rock to talk about it on his Instagram.
Yeah.
You save yourself several $100 million.
Sure.
And it breaks through. So it's like.
But that's selling. That's like, he's the spokesperson. I'm fine with spokespeople.
No, he started that. He's one of the founders.
That's what I'm saying. That's different. Starting something, founding something, having your own idea and doing it to me is like, now I'm confused about what I'm even saying.
And me too a bit, which I think is the sign of a good conversation, is you're like trying to figure out what your position is midway through.
I don't care. Everyone can do it however they want,
but
there's just a lot of products out there.
I want to explain the landscape and why it's irresistible for distilleries and spirits, because you almost can't do it. To just have like a novel recipe and try to penetrate.
I agree. Like Kristen was with Spindrift for a while.
Right.
That to me is great. Like she likes the product and it exists and she is helping promote it. She's a spokesperson. But I think if she on her own was like, and like you guys did it with Hello Bella because you felt like that there was a need.
Yeah, yeah.
But if she on her own,
people on a budget to have the same shit we had.
Yes. But I think if she on her own was just like, what product shall I make now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Lipstick.
I'll make vodka.
Right. And I don't drink.
Yeah. Or just anything. It's like she didn't do that. And I appreciate that. Like, I think just being hired is great.
Yeah.
Please hire me to be a spokesperson.
No, I think you just.
No, This is nuanced. I would like to be a spokesperson for your product that already exists, but I don't want to clutter the market with a new one.
Don't you think it might be fair to also acknowledge is like however you feel about the new celebrity product is virtually just how you feel about that celebrity. Because like when Clooney does it, you're like, oh, cool. He's super classy and elevated. And I bet his tequila's top shelf and you won't get a hangover.
And it is.
And then you see, I don't even want to say a name, but
won't.
you know, there's like a whole legion of people you would see with the product and be like, well, I don't even like their vibe to begin with. And it reeks of cash grab.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's all part of it.
I'll have everyone know if it makes them feel better. I have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on Ted Seegers.
No, I made this clear that I think that's different.
Mine's also a mission to be with my two friends.
Yeah, that's great. Everyone do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Just do it.
And I don't care if you think I guess it is important to me that everyone recognize that this is not a cash grab. No one came to me. This is all self-finance, and I'll probably lose my shirt. But again, I'm having a blast with Aaron and Aaron. We were at a fucking convention just now on stage.
Too.
Cash grabs in the right. Yeah, there's the right. Listen, I'm part of some
Everything's
cash grabs.
fine. Me too. Everything's fine. Everyone's doing great.
Everyone's trying to make it. What else? How was your weekend? We haven't discussed weekends.
Yeah.
Tell me.
As I said, I watched all of Running Point, really enjoyed it. I missed that half-hour comedy vibe a lot.
Yeah.
It's such it's just easy, it's breezy, it's fun,
Yeah.
it's sexy, I like it. So I watched all that. Oh, speaking of, on my Instagram this week, because it's Mindy week, although when this comes out, it won't be Mindy week.
Yeah, it's
It will have passed. But it's Mindy week, so every day this week I'm posting on stories an old episode of ours that is connected to Running Point. So like yesterday I posted Kate's old episode.
Right.
Today I posted Ike's first appearance.
Wow, first.
Yeah. And then there's more to come.
Oh my God.
We've had a lot of those people on.
Yeah, who else?
Max.
Oh yeah, Max Greenfield.
Yep.
Sweet Max, who I love.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you finished you plowed right through. And it felt great. And you woke up and felt good in the morning.
Yeah, I was very happy.
You didn't feel guilty for partying too hard. Yeah, good.
No, I didn't. I felt great about it.
Wonderful.
What else did I do? Oh, I had a big catch-up session with my viewing crew because we were behind, and we watched White Lotus and Severance. We were behind. So we had to watch 2 Severance, 2 White Lotus.
You have not introduced me to this viewing crew concept. You just dropped it on my lap.
No,
like
I
I'm
told
super
you.
familiar with
I told you,
viewing
Anna,
crew.
Julia, Jess, and I watched that. Watched Severance and White Lotus.
You told me you had watched an episode. I didn't realize it was a commitment and a viewing crew. And a weekly.
Yeah, it's a weekly Sunday.
What fun.
Sunday, I make dinner.
The funnest times of my whole life were watching Sopranos on Sunday nights and making Italian food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun.
Gotta
but
gooch.
the problem is when you miss,
Gotta geech.
it's a problem.
Yeah, when you get it, it's a gotta gooch. And when you miss, it's a gotta geech. Okay.
Are you in Soprano?
I'm in Sopranos.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like then we have 4 to watch. That was a lot.
When you miss a week of viewing, I thought you meant when you miss cooking.
Oh, yeah. I
'Cause
didn't
that would be a
understand
gotta
what you were
geech.
doing. Okay, yeah.
Missing would be, Maron. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we had to watch 4 episodes.
Oh my God, that was your Sunday?
Yeah, which was also very
That's
fun.
fun.
It was fun. But then the Oscars were also on.
Oh, and you got to watch those.
So I had to watch pieces of that. So it was a lot of television consumption over the weekend.
I had a television party too because I got early screeners for Drive to Survive.
Nice.
And I had the boys over
Cool.
to watch. And what a show. What a show. Boy, do they build the suspense for the season, which kicks off in a week.
Fun.
I can't wait. Testing happened. Some surprises, some big, exciting surprises.
How's my boyfriend? Does he do well?
Who's your current boyfriend?
Toto. He's one of my boyfriends.
Oh, now he's your boyfriend.
He's definitely been one of my boyfriends since he came on the show.
Since he came on the show,
Yeah, of
but
course.
prior to that, it was Ricardo or bust.
Well, Ricardo's still, but
Ricardo.
he's not there.
He's a gargooch.
Okay.
Ricardo.
Yeah, Danny.
Daniel Ricciardo. You can't even look. Yeah, great total. What a charming son of a bitch. He gets you several times in the 3 episodes I saw. Yes, he's so playful.
God, he really is so playful.
But back to testing, Carlos Sainz, who we love. Sexiest man on the grid, best lay. Father is a legend.
Poo-poo pants.
Don't say that about him. He was unceremoniously let go of Ferrari to make room for Lewis Hamilton.
Okay.
And what was great is that the first half of the year, Carlos was destroying. He was beating Leclerc, who I love. But it was fun because he's like, oh, you're going to fire me and keep Charles. Let me beat Charles for a while. Very exciting.
This is great.
He went to Williams, always a bottom 3 team. In testing first test session, Carlos Sainz had the fastest lap in a Williams.
That's
Talk about a little bit of poetic justice.
We love a comeback.
Underdog.
An underdog.
This is straight underdog. You know, I have very specific compartments for my stories, as we learned on the last fact check.
What do you mean? Wait, I forget.
Well, I was like, no, this is a climbing the ladder, becoming a CEO story. This isn't a dreams come true story. That's too broad of a blanket.
Sure.
So this one is specifically underdog.
Yeah, but it's like underdog.
Revenge.
That's what it is.
Best
it's not
served.
underdog, I don't think.
Well, he's on an underdog team.
I know, but
There's
it's
2
like,
stories happening.
it's just hard to call him an underdog.
But the Williams story is an underdog story. And then the Carlos Sainz is a revenge is a dish best served hot and straight up your ass on week 1 of testing.
And I won't clean my ass after.
Don't say that.
It's my opinion. I mean, that's the world we live in. Opinions
Are
you
facts.
just say it and it's a fact.
That's right. Opinions are facts. Don't talk back.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's fun. You had a viewing party.
Yeah, that was a really good time. Had a double date on Saturday night at a steakhouse by the people who do sugarfish.
Oh, nice.
And you can expect it's the steak version of sugarfish.
Where, what?
Matu?
Oh, I've been there.
You have?
God, yeah. The Philly, they do also have
the Philly cheesesteak.
So good.
Oh my God, that was dessert. We got this crazy, like, all-in meal, and the dessert was that friggin'.
It's
That's the
unreal.
best. I mean, people in Philadelphia are going to slit my throat, but it's the best Philly cheesesteak I've ever had, and I've had them in Philadelphia.
What's a Wagyu?
Yeah.
Right?
It's a Wagyu. You
Yeah.
mispronounced it, but yeah.
Oh, God.
Got a gooch.
Oh, you've been hanging out with too many bros.
No, I haven't.
Now you
I
talk
spent
like that.
One evening with Aaron and Aaron, who are not bros.
No, Aaron and Aaron are not the bros I'm talking about.
They're not bros at all.
I love them.
Yeah. They're very unbro-like.
I know. That's why I love them.
We went and saw the Led Zeppelin documentary yesterday.
Fun.
In IMAX.
Fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking about that. This is a Easter egg. You know, you
Can't wait to watch you tap dance around this. I already know what's coming, and I'm like watching you play. You're like testing the ice, see if you're going to falter before you say it.
I know. For someone who is pretty risk averse, I'm really not. I step on the
no.
ice all the time.
Yeah, you're mixed messies for sure.
I do think you connect with bro culture. Like in your head, you think that. Like you grew up in Michigan and, you know, it's dirt road and you have all these bros and then other kinds of bros in Detroit. Like you really connect with that idea.
Oh, okay. Well, so far I can agree with you. I can hang with the bros. Like I'm totally comfortable in that. Yeah.
But I think you sometimes identify, well, maybe it's just when you're with them. I don't know. But I mean this as a huge compliment.
Yeah.
You are not one.
Oh, I know.
And like your bros are sweet boys.
Oh, yeah. The
Like,
Aarons?
yeah.
All my friends from Michigan are sweethearts.
I know.
We fist fought a lot, but all of them are very sweet boys.
That's like,
I think that's...
there's a distinction for me.
If I dare, I'm now on the ice. I think you had some pretty binary categories. And I don't know that you had the category of boys who were super sweet to their moms and their sisters and also fought at the bar.
Right.
And I think that's the category that the Aarons and I are in.
Yeah, that's right. I think the bro culture that people talk about is different. It's different than what you have and what you're doing.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the bro culture, without naming names, is in deep search of masculinity.
Yeah.
And I think I've been lucky enough to achieve a lot of that masculinity.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of guys who act tough who they've never challenged themselves to find out if they are. And they have this fear that they're not, and they're kind of compensating. So I can hang in those circles because I am often the thing some of these guys are purporting to be, but I don't act like a blowhard, or I try not to act like a blowhard.
Yeah. But like some people do put it to the test, like Rogan. Like he goes and he's like into UFC and
he trains. He
exactly.
But his story, as I've learned from other people, is he was a bullied kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's short. I think he was bullied, and I think he didn't want to ever feel that again. And I think he made himself strong and learned how to fight. And I think I'm assuming he's kind of honest about that.
Yeah, but he's choosing still to surround himself and build a life that's still like that.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I think it could be misleading if you only evaluate Rogan by the 15 most flagrant guests he's had, instead of the dude's done 2,000 episodes of his show. And he's also really good friends with Chappelle. I think he's a comedian first. I think if we were to interview him, I think he would most identify he's a comedian. UFC's not first. He's much happier in a green room with all comics.
Yeah.
I think that's his allegiance and his tribe. And then I think as I'm crazy into cars, he's crazy into UFC. And then that invites UFC fighters. Now, those guys, I'm not, a lot of them, I don't have much to defend about their worldview, but I don't know that it's entirely fair to graph onto Rogan who his 15 craziest guests are. Because he also has
That's fair.
Other guests in the opposite direction. If there's anything I'll say about him, he's incredibly fair about everyone there's kind of welcome. If anything, he's just really attracted to super provocative ideas. Sometimes they're on the left, sometimes they're on the right. I listened to a speech he made the other day that was like, I'm not in either of your club. What I think is crazy is to be in a club. So I don't think he himself self-identifies as much as the left thinks he does with being a conservative. But I think he's a bit of a big bad wolf on the left, and I personally don't think he is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I'll say he's a big bad wolf, but do I think he contributes to a culture that I think is problematic? Yes. And that doesn't mean he himself necessarily is that. But I think he feeds that group what they want, and then they get off on it.
Well, again, I think they listen to the 15 episodes that we would then talk about in droves, and then
he obviously is the biggest show in the world.
Oh, by 5-10x.
Yeah, it's not that they're picking and choosing. He has a huge audience that I believe cares to keep, as he should. Yeah. And I think that means feeding it.
See, that's where I might disagree. I don't think he's led by his audience at all. Like, I think he is actually insanely true to who he just is. That's why I respect him a lot. Right. I don't think he's chasing that audience. I think he's him, and a big swath of the country loves that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see other people chasing that and trying to be opportunistic about that.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's him. I think he's been the same fucking dude for 12 years on his show.
I only wondered because, again, Easter egg, we have someone coming out, and we have two people coming out that are, in my opinion, well, one of them especially is quite atypical-ish.
Atypical or atypical?
Atypical of our guests.
Sure.
And the type of conversation even is different.
Yeah.
And I did think, I wonder what would happen, like in an alternate universe, what would happen if I wasn't here? Not in this, in this show.
Oh,
if it was Dax solo.
Yeah.
What would happen with the show? Who would it be? What would it be? I mean, I think there's no way to know because of like the the alchemy. You can't tell.
Right.
But I did, after I was like, oh man, I wonder. Then we went out and your friends were here, the Aarons were here. And I was like, it wouldn't be that.
I think the way you can test it is I've gone on these people's shows and I'm just still me. I'm talking about trauma and addiction and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Even in the lion's den of these dudes.
Yeah.
But again, I have the gift of having done all the stuff. I don't ever feel like I need to inflate or bonify my masculinity.
Prove yourself.
I don't. I'm so comfortable. Like when it goes into those zones that I actually like, if it's about cars or a great boxing match, I do like that stuff. But I don't ever need
You're
to
not
join.
bragging about those things.
No.
But also, I was thinking, yes, you're right. I think you would be talking about trauma and you would be whatever, I agree. You are you.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, and this is not a pat on my back because it was you who said that I should be here.
Yeah.
I do think it's just so fucking important to have a woman in the room. I mean, we've had so many
especially one that's
people-
empowered.
Yes.
Like if you were to guest on one of their shows, it would be dicey. It would be hard.
It would be hard. It would be hard.
But these people are on your show.
Yeah, but sorry. I mean as hosts.
Yeah.
Like it is really important to have a woman there. It changes the dynamic of everything, even if I'm silent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now what I would agree with is the guest, one of the two, would have gone further. Now I wouldn't have joined him, but he would have certainly gone further. Well, here's where we might disagree. So yes, in this situation, of course, I couldn't be more grateful you're here at all times. And this show absolutely needs you. Now, I don't mind at all if there's a podcast with 5 guys talking about guy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. We don't have to have a woman there, and we don't need a man when there's a podcast of 5 women talking about women shit. I don't think we need representation in all places. It's plenty fine if girls have a podcast and boys have a podcast. That doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
And boys can go ahead and talk about the UFC the whole time and who paid for dinner, all that stuff. That's not the enemy, I don't think.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's the enemy. I think they should be able to do that. I'm not like you can't, but I think
like if women's shows don't need a man, which they don't, I don't think men's show need a woman.
Yeah, I mean, then we get into like women are talking about the things that aren't being talked about because that is not a group that gets a lot of attention in that way. Like they're talking about not getting paid. That is important to talk about, right? Like I don't think men on the men's podcast are saying like, yeah, women aren't getting paid.
That's to me sounds like you're saying one is superior to the other. That one has an ethical drive and the other one is inane. And so
no, I didn't say that's putting words in my mouth.
I know. I'm telling you what it sounds like. It sounds like you're saying a women's show is needed and they're a part of some kind of good movement, and the men's one is not.
No, it's just representation. It's just that group they do need more platforms to talk because there aren't that many. So it is good to have, I also think the women should have men on. I think it's
like, I don't think The View needs a man. I don't think Alex Cooper needs a man. I think there's
yes, that's true.
There's tons of very successful shows that are female led, and that's awesome. They don't need anything. They are doing the show they want to do, and the audience who's consuming it wants that show.
Yeah, I agree.
And the same has to be applied to the guys.
I agree. But I do think there's a lot of ideas currently. I mean, not even ideas. We know what's happening to men. Men are suffering. They are tanking.
Mm-hmm.
And I often think some of these things don't help that. Personally, for them, I think they get very riled up and then they're just continuing to to go on this course that is not going to pull them out of any of these ruts.
I'm just saying, I don't think they have advice for how the female dominated show should be or shouldn't be. I don't think they're telling anyone how your show should be or how female shows should be. But I think a lot of those men would feel like, why are you even telling us what our show has to be? Like, just don't listen to our show. If you don't want to hear a bunch of talk about fighting and stuff, who cares?
No, the reason to care is the implication it has on a huge group of this country, sort of a currently like kind of disenfranchised male. And they're like rallying around.
Yeah.
And
as they should.
But it's not working. It's not getting them out of any of these bad situations that they're in. I
hate to say this, it is working because they got their president in there.
And they're all suffering.
I mean,
literally all of those people are
I'm not agreeing.
Freaking out right now because I don't have any money and they can't buy anything and everything's gone.
I don't want Trump to be president. I don't agree with, name the thing that's going on. But if if you make those folks black, take them out of that they're white men, the black community totally disenfranchised. You get hip hop, you get rap, you get this empowering art that comes out of it. And for anyone who was sitting on the sidelines telling Ice Cube how he should be dealing with this situation when he's got tons of raps about shooting people and hating white people, the people that were on the outside telling him how he should deal with growing up in South Central, we would both agree they should shut the fuck up. Because that's the disenfranchised group and you're hearing their voice now. So now there's another disenfranchised group and they're doing what generally people do that are disenfranchised. They bond together over that. And then they try to get someone they think is going to represent their cause. And those people won the election.
Yeah. And they're going to, and
your
them.
opinion is they'll suffer more under this president.
No, it's not that is fact.
I don't think they're going to benefit. But what I can say is we don't know the result because 4 years isn't up.
But what we started just talking about is that they got their president and they did.
Yeah.
And my opinion is that their president, that they all got fucking fooled. And I don't think that, I do think there's maybe not a responsibility. I would find it to be my responsibility. If we had a show, if I started looking at our audience and I was like, our audience is all believing something that I don't think is actually correct and is actually going to lead them to suffer, I would want to do something here to try to help correct that while keeping them, of course.
Just think if your goal is to help this disenfranchised group, I think saying your conclusion is they got fooled, which is if I'm them and I hear you say you all got fooled, what I'm hearing you say is you're smarter than I am. And I got fooled and I'm a fool. I think a good chunk of men feel like all they've been hearing for 10 years is how terrible men are.
I know. Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty predictable that this group that's being told they're toxic and terrible for 10 years is going to at some point go, well, then fuck you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And I think if our continued approach is to tell all of them that they're terrible, you're going to see more of this. I think if you want young men to be on our side, you have to invite them. And I think you have to make it seem like they're welcomed and we'd be delighted to have them.
Yeah.
And I think the messaging towards men over the last decade has not made a lot of them feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right.
And I think even if they don't have a job, let's say they're unemployed today and then they're unemployed in 4 years, but at least someone got up and said, hey, I'm not apologizing that I was born male and I'm sick of hearing the bullshit. Maybe that win for them would be better if they're unemployed on both sides of it.
Okay, then they can live their life like that. Like I
think that's a really...
It's very unfair, in my opinion, for you to say that. Like, so women have to do what women always have to do, which is placate men because they have the power and say like, oh my God, you guys are so great. Please come over. We
There's
love you.
There's a huge gap, Monica, between you're so great and just you're so shitty. I think, and you could argue and win that it's justified. So yes, I think my general feeling about women is much more positive than your general feeling about men. And you could argue that that's totally justified because they're the patriarchy, they commit the sex crimes, they do all the murdering. Those are great reasons. And I'm not even going to argue, but I do think my overall opinion of women is higher than your overall opinion of men. And I think I feel it. Do you think that's an accurate assessment that your overall opinion of men is lower than my opinion of women?
Than your overall opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, for like being a woman in America, that's not. I mean, I don't know how to combat. Like you did just kind of put me in you did paint me in a way like yes. I know because
and so
of
if
men.
Yeah,
in this
and
country.
I get it, and it's justified. So if you're a man and I'm a man, and yes, there are pedophiles that are men, and there's rapists that are men, and there's a lot of bad men. But if you paint me with the same brush as those men, if you're conflating me with those other people, now I'm a group, and now I have a group identity.
But that's not fair to. I don't think we have so many men who come on this show, experts and celebrities. I'm not, when they walk in, I'm not like, well, I don't trust you, or I'm not sure if I like you. I'm like, yes, I like you until something is said or done where I don't.
Yeah, I never experienced it when we're interviewing a guest.
No, but that's me interacting with men in the world.
I experience it when we do Armchair Anonymous and we're listening to a woman's story. That's when I observe it, where it's like, there's no benefit of a doubt to the man that's being talked about. You'll generally go to, they're terrible. The girl who shit on her boyfriend and he threw up. And, that's where I'll notice it, where I'll go like, wow, I think Monica's opinion of men is pretty low. She's, quick to assume the man in this story is the problem and not the woman, or that it would be equal.
Maybe.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. And again, men have earned that, but I'm not that man. And so many of the men are not that men, and we don't like it.
Okay.
Just like you wouldn't like any negative stereotype about Indians or women. You wouldn't like it.
But if I'm behaving in that stereotype, it's for you to lump you in is a little like.
Well, I'm a man.
But I know you.
Right.
It's not like you're a random man I know. My opinion of you is based on you and you and me. It is not about anything stereotypical.
Right. I can tell you, I go to Kristen's cabaret show, and there's a woman host of it. It's her show. And she does 7 minutes on the world would be perfect if there was an island and it just had women on it and there was no men. And all the women clap in the audience. That's a real thing that's totally fine to say in public right now. And in fact, gets applauded. And I'm a dude in the audience and I'm like, we're in a weird pattern right now where this is not only fine, but applauded. And I'm looking at the 7 men in the room and I'm like, yeah, this is weird. There's never been, it's just, if that was the same thing that was being done and men were going, dream world is an island with no women and everyone clapped, I would go, you guys are fucked.
No, I know. But I think there's some contradictions here because also when these stand-ups are making jokes about women or other people of other races or whatever. And in your response, which I think is correct, is if you don't like it, don't watch it. This is the same thing. Why is it if it's a woman doing it, it's like, that's really bad. But when men say something sexist, you can say like, well, that's not for you. Don't watch it.
No, I'm never laughing that a guy goes, women suck and men should all be together. I've never enjoyed a stand-up routine or laughed at a joke that was that complicated. Her entire thing was just, wouldn't it be great if there were no men? Now, had she crafted an incredible joke and it was funny, I would laugh at it for sure. I don't have that big of a chip on my shoulder. I'm just saying that's a weird vibe and I'm in that kind of often. And I'm pretty evolved. And I still go, this is weird. I don't want to be a man in this room. I don't know why you hate men across the board. I don't think you should hate me. And I am semi-evolved. So I'm imagining all these other kids that are unemployed and hearing that sentiment and just going like, okay, I guess it's us against them.
Yeah. I don't think most of the people in the country are hearing the woman at the cabaret show. I think that's very Los Angeles and very New York. I don't think that is happening.
Yeah. But do you agree at all that that's a weird thing or no?
To say that?
The cabaret show I went to.
I think it's silly. I don't agree with that. But I think her saying it when some people are saying it, just like men are saying bad shit too. And I'm just like, if we're gonna say that it's okay for those people to be saying those things and we just can like we can not listen or they can speak to their people, then I think that has to be allowed anywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm only pointing out that that's happening.
Yeah, it's happening on both sides, like crazy.
But I don't think that cabaret host needs a male and present. She's fine to do that in her followers.
Well, she probably does fucking need a man there that she likes. She does. That's a perfect point. If she had someone there that she did trust and know and like that was a man, I doubt that would be her opinion. But the fact that she is so potentially, I don't know anything about this person, but is so siloed off and that so much so that is her opinion that the world would be better with no men. Yeah. That to me is an indication that she needs to have some more men in her life that are good.
I think that's I don't think that's a single digit opinion.
But to me, that is a silo. That's an issue with silos. And that's exactly my whole problem with these shows that are, I think, intensifying a silo. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right. It is happening on both sides where people are only speaking to one group and these thoughts and opinions are getting so extreme. Like we should eradicate an entire sex and gender. Yeah. Like, no, that's wild.
I just think it's a real bad idea if we're just squaring off like, okay, it's on. It's men against women. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think that's a bad, I think that's going to have a bad fucking outcome. I think that's
bad. And this like now after an hour is circling back to what I was saying, which is I think there would be less of it's men versus women if men and women were in rooms together a lot more and building trust.
I do too.
Oh my God. A long walk there.
It was an entertaining walk. I think a lot of people will have heard their opinions voiced.
Okay, facts. Lauren.
Sweet Lauren Graham. Boy, we got a taste of her, what she was saying with the young kids watching Gilmore Girls, because she left the garage and we were in the yard and Delta had a friend over from school and that friend was freaking the fuck out. Delta was like, is Lauren on a show called what is it? Gilmore Girls. And I'm like, yeah, she the Gilmore Girl.
Oh, that it's still going.
An 11-year-old.
That's really cute. Yeah, special to be on a show that just like keeps finding its audience.
Yeah.
All right. So the book club, Jenna Bush Hager's book club. These are the books. The Wedding People, Blue Sisters, The Mighty Red, The Motherless Land, Devotions, The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus, and This Is a Love Story. Those are the last. That's from August of last year till now. Lauren had read any of those? No. Okay. I'm still reading Intermezzo.
Okay. So stay tuned.
Yeah. And we'll come back to you next week with that riddle. How long has May been in show business? 94. When a Man Loves a Woman, she was 6.
Okay, 31 years.
Whew.
30 wonderful years.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And then 93.
She beat me by a decade.
Yeah. She was on Friends. And then Lauren was in 93. So she did beat her by 1 year.
Okay. 32 years.
Yeah. The Howie Mandel game show that they went to visit is called Take It All.
Did they take it all? Oh, they were just watching. They weren't
know.
contestants.
Yeah, I don't think they were contestants. Okay. But this is ding, 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 sort of back to that riddle that we haven't shared. Take It All is a game show where the final 2 contestants choose between keeping their money or taking it all. The contestant who chooses Take It All wins all the money and prizes from both contestants. If both contestants choose Take It All, they both lose.
Prisoner games.
Yeah, exactly. Zimbardo.
Non-cooperative
Milton.
games.
Oh, the SNL 4-part series, SNL 50, Beyond Saturday Night, includes an episode that explores the Saturday Night Live audition process. It's on Peacock. if anyone is interested. The movie she did with Joel McHale, A Merry Friggin' Christmas with Robin Williams. How long did This Is Us run? 6 seasons, 106 episodes. You guys ran 6 seasons, 103 episodes.
Oh, they beat us.
Barely.
Just resumed Paradise last night. Same writer.
Yeah.
Episode 8 was banger.
Oh, I'm behind then.
Oh. Yeah, it's bad. It's all caught up to what our screeners were.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Tasty. We all watched it. The Aarons, the girls, me last night. Yeah. Aaron was on a second viewing of it. You know, Aaron sees absolutely every show.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I'm excited. I'm excited to keep watching. All right, that's it.
That was all?
Lauren.
All right. We love you, Lauren.
We really do.
Yeah,
She's a
I
nice.
really love you.
I really want her banana bread.
Me too, but I can't even have it.
If she brings it, you have to eat some. This is Letterman all over
I
again.
had to put a tux on.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Okay,
love
love
you.
you.